Picks. Jakey and I are going to break down the entire UFC San Antonio fight card, giving you our picks, our predictions, our bets, and our fantasy plays. But before we do that, why don't you head on over to wewantpicks.com/bets. If you use our affiliate links to sign up with one of our sportsbook partners, I will send you $50 as a thank you. It's literally that simple. wewantpicks.com/bets. Sign up using our link, make a deposit. I send you $50. They're going to pay me. I take off a piece of that and I send it to you as a thank you. It's literally that simple. You take care of us, we take care of you. wewantpicks.com/bets. And let's talk about UFC 286. It was a success across the board. I was up almost a unit and a half. Jacob was up 20 units. He had that big giant bet on Leon Edwards. The safety parlay did lose, but all of these numbers here show the losses as well. These are all net numbers. So we're up big. Things are going very, very well. 21 and a half units from UFC 286, 37 units on the year in 2023. The top right are my bets. The bottom was Jacob's big boy bet. Obviously, he had others that hit as well. And as far as the safety parlay is concerned, Big Papa Bo made some changes for this week. We included some props. It's not just 2 money lines because that's the problem with money lines. A couple of props, very, very confident in that. Go to wewantpicks.com, click become a member. It is only $10 a month, and you're going to get not only our picks, not only our bets, not only the DraftKings optimizer, but there's tools, there's information, there's things there that will help you find your spots and identify your own bets. One of them is the line movement tracker, and this week's line movement tracker is wild. We have 3 different fights where they opened as a favorite and are closing as an underdog. Or
is that a blouse?
The inverse of that. No, it's a fucking, get the fuck out of here. Fuck you.
It looks like my grandma.
We also have a 38-column data sheet with all sorts of information to help you find your spots. 38 columns of individual fighter stats, fight statistics, their last 5, their grappling stats, their striking stats, how they're winning, how they're losing, all of that information so that you can find your spots and you can identify your best fantasy play, your best bet. Literally all of this is included with membership. It is only $10 a month. Our DraftKings ownership alone is worth $10. The optimizer is worth $10. The bets are worth $10. This spreadsheet is worth $10. There's literally people selling it for $10 right now.
So is this.
And we're doing all of that for a total of $10. Just go to wewantpicks.com, click become a member. It is the greatest value in the history of this space. And finally, for those of you who don't know, I put out a vlog for every single pay-per-view. I record my day. My friends come over. We cook something amazing. We watch the fights. We hang out. Jacob didn't join us this week because he was streaming for you. But the reason I have this here, A, check the video out. B, you guys hated the ending. You guys hated my reaction and my friends' reactions to the main event. I'm not going to talk about it.
Looks a little
Go check it out. Go check it out. Let me know in the comments. It's
That's
funny.
Like
when I first sliced it, it did look bad. And then after, I even said on camera, like, shit, I overdid it. Because my wife, who's in it, be nice, likes well done. So then it's just such a pain to time hers and everybody else's. Luckily, it looked well done, but it was not. So
like it's got a little chew to it.
I could give a shit what you think. You weren't here. WeOnPicks.com, become a member.
I was working.
Watch the Fight Foods videos every single pay-per-view. And for UFC 287, I'm cooking a couple of Thor's hammers.
And just so everyone knows, Angela's doing all that while I'm sitting here for 8.5 hours streaming. So no invite, no nothing.
Yep, no invite. Let's go ahead and break down this card. You ready, Jakey boy?
You're going to go through all these donations and gifted memberships that we just got. That's what you're going to do because there's been a million of them. So let's
go ahead and hit these up. Quint Lazenby, $2. Cheeto fight card. Like the stream, my friends. Appreciate you, Quint. Always very generous. Always using your shout-outs for the greater good of the channel. Very, very appreciated. I didn't get an alert for this, but Joe Todoro gifted a membership. Thank you very much, Joe. Joe's just riding high. He called into the call-in show, and
Quint
he made the clip.
Too.
He made the clip.
He also gifted a membership.
Let's see
That's
if I can find it.
That's a donation and a gifted.
Yeah, the gifted memberships don't show up.
I didn't realize that we were leaving our phone.
I0 gifted a membership as well. Thank you very much. Oh, he got it from Quint. Congrats, I. Thank you, Quint. And then we have another super chat from Sam Pierce. Mr. Salamander, congrats again. Usman won.
Yeah.
Haha.
Oh, Sam
and
Pierce.
I completely
Me and Sam had a
agree.
good time in the still after the fight was immediately, and I was like, I gave a little spiel. If you guys can go watch my reaction on the live stream video, it is definitely worth a watch. And me and Sam Pierce really get into it at the end. There
you go. And then Anthony W says we should call it food fights. No, it's fight foods. It's fight day.
Food
these are the foods that I'm cooking for my buddies.
Food fights.
On fight day, I think we are all caught up.
Sarah Jackson?
Jakey boy. What?
You got Sarah Jackson?
Who's Sarah Jackson?
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for
Her first name was Sarah?
No, we got a donation from Sarah Jackson, you stupid ass.
Oh, I don't see. It's not on mine.
Oh, must be through something. It looks like it's through YouTube. It's not a super chat. It's just a donation. $2 from Sarah Jackson. Go ahead and
thank you very much, Sarah. Very appreciated. I don't have that alert yet, but I'm sure I will soon.
Sweet.
Thank you very much. Genuinely appreciated. First up at UFC San Antonio, we have Hailey Cowan. Shuffled around. She had an ovarian cyst a few weeks ago. Moved off of that card. Moved on to this one. She is a Texan. Because what a disgusting thing to make a sex noise at.
I didn't do it. I was just sitting here.
Okay.
I think
you didn't go.
I think you didn't go. Your stomach.
You didn't go. When I said
stomach.
ovarian cyst.
What'd you have for dinner? How much pasta?
I did have pasta, and I made it. It was butter. I made butter pasta. First of all, it's al dente. It's not. It's al dente, not al dente. It's not like a half black guy from an Italian neighborhood. Al dente. It's al dente. We have Hailey Cowan taking on Tamires Vidal. Hailey Cowan, supposed to fight a few weeks ago, had some medical issues. She is now on this card. She is a Texan, so I'm sure she's happy about that. And she's taking on Tamires Vidal. Hailey Cowan, 7-2 overall, 5-0 in her last 5. Coming off that knockout win. No. Hailey Cowan, 7-2 overall, 4-1 in her last 5. Coming off a Contender Series win.
A little quickly tonight.
And a canceled fight. Tamires Vidal is 7-1. She's 5-0 in her last 5, and she's coming off that knockout win over Ramona Pascal. Listen, this is an interesting fight. This is one of the crazy line movement fights. Hailey Cowan opened up as an underdog. Understandably so. Understandably so. She's new-ish to MMA. MMA is sort of a second career to her. She doesn't have a ton of fights. She's got this sort of short notice setup here where she's cut weight twice in 3 weeks. So yes, she opened as a slight underdog against Tamires Vidal, who's big, strong, hits hard, powerful, mostly a grappler, though, who is successful grappling. And the line is completely flipped. Tamires Vidal is now an underdog against Hailey Cowan. And Hailey Cowan is really just an athletic, former, she's just athletic.
Gymnast.
She's talented.
That's what you're looking for.
Well, because Tamires Vidal was a former soccer player who transitioned to MMA. Hailey Cowan was a gymnast who transitioned to MMA.
Are you okay?
I'm not okay.
Oh my
Transitioned
God.
to MMA. But anyway, it's an interesting setup because Cowan is just athletic. She's very athletic. She's strong. She does a lot of impressive things with that athleticism, but she's not necessarily dangerous, doesn't really have fundamentals, not amazing anywhere other than her athleticism. Tamires Vidal is an MMA fighter. She has grappling skills. She will come in there. She will strike. She just knocked out Ramona Pascal, who's not very good, but who is very tough with a flying knee. Tamires Vidal open at -155. That felt correct. She's the pick. She should win. The fact that she's plus money is insane. If we didn't have the don't bet on women MMA rule, she'd be a bet because Tamires Vidal should absolutely be less athletic, but stronger, hit harder, more MMA ready. What do you think, Jakey boy? I put it together. I figured it out.
No, that last part you mentioned, honestly, is what separates the difference between these two ladies because, as you mentioned, neither one of them, you watch both of them and nothing stands out for either one, right? You're not looking at Hailey and be like, oh my God, she's such a good wrestler. Oh my God, she's such a good striker. And the same for Vidal. It's like, yeah, she can do a little bit of everything, but nothing really shines in the film. And there's a lot of people on this card that are like that, where nothing really stands out. It's like, yeah, they should win, but, I don't know exactly where they're going to win type of situation. So be very careful on this card as a little prelude here to everything else. But, yeah, Vidal should get it done because I think she is just a little bit stronger, a little bit tougher than Hailey. And Hailey needs this fight to the ground, but on her own terms. I don't think she's going to be able to fight off her back against a girl like Vidal, but if she gets a takedown on her terms, gets on top, she can do damage there. I think her takedowns kind of suck. If she's shooting takedowns, I don't think she can get them, and Vidal just kind of makes this a nasty fight. I don't see really – it could be a finish either way. It's very unpredictable. When you have, not super talented girls, sometimes stuff happens, and there is a weird finish. But I think Vidal just kind of out-toughs her, basically, to either a finish or a decision win. So when I broke down this fight on Twitter, I did my full card breakdown. When I started it with this fight, she was minus 155 or minus 160. I got 4 or 5 fights in, a couple hours later, and she had already flipped to the underdog. In my breakdown, I thought she was good value at minus 150, so that should tell you something.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really require a bet per se, but it's definitely one of the more intriguing underdogs on the card because we all agree she should be a favorite. And the fact that she's an underdog is very nice, and those are the spots you look for, but women have been a bit of a problem lately.
Yeah,
but I guess
don't bet on women's. I can't remember if I said that before my breakdown or not. But don't bet women's MMA. You'll do much better. But if there was a time where I was ever tempted, it's when Vidal was plus 120 or whatever she was.
And in fairness, it's don't bet women's MMA because you find a favorite who is better, should be better, should get it done, and then they don't. In this case, it's the underdog. But I hear you. Everybody's bitching about your microphone. Shut the fuck here. I fixed it. Is that better, Jakey? Talk.
Hello.
Okay, well, it's going to be better. They're going to deal with it. DraftKings wise, you're going to need some underdogs in your lineup. It's fine. I raised the volume on my side.
Is this better?
Okay,
Hello.
Shut up. Stop. It's annoying.
Well,
leave it right there.
Figure it out.
Put it back. There. It's this is going to be a weird card because there are a lot of mid-size favorites. There's a whole bunch of 160s, 220s, in that range. There's no massive favorites. It's all in that range, and most of them can lose. So you're going to need some underdogs in your DraftKings lineup, $7,800. I think Tamires should be a favorite. So if I'm going to get a discount on her, it may be worth it. I just don't know if she wins by finish. Therefore, little undecided there. But you're going to get 7,000 range for somebody that can get it done. What do you think? You going to throw in your DraftKings lineup, or you just don't think she'll score enough? It's not worth it.
I'll have to really, really sleep on it.
All right. Guys, become a premium member. You'll get access to the line movement tracker, and you can spot lines and trends just like this one here, so you can hop on or hop off and plan accordingly. When you're placing your bets, just go to WeWantPicks.com and click Become a Member. We got a couple of super chats here. Amadi Hussein became a YouTube member. Thank you very much. You can now use emotes and things like that. And then Alvin Tyron Fairburn super chatted $5. Thank you guys for the affordable membership. Love the videos and the website. It's definitely worth it. Keep those picks and money coming. Alvin, we appreciate you very much.
Alvin!
That wasn't that good. I've heard people do it better. I've heard people do it better. $3 super chat from Cameron Sinet, Shiba Dog, gifting a large bone. Bowing respect.
Oh my God, it happened again. Oh God.
Oh, this was a description?
Oh God.
This was a description of an emote.
Just turn this shit off.
Is that what it was? That was a description of an emote. Whatever, man. I mean, listen.
Oh my God, I didn't realize. I was like, "What is he saying?" Because I didn't look at it, and I was just like, "What the hell is he saying?"
Oh, listen. I try to be young and hip, like you people. I'm not. I'm just sweet for my own age group. $2 super chat, Quentin Lazenby. They both suck real bad.
You said it,
Appreciate
not
the
us.
$2. I don't think what's her name sucks. $10 super chat from Cameron. I'm not going to read this one because I'm smarter than that. But if you could see it, it is somebody on the floor laughing very hard. Thank you very much. $10, Cameron. Now I know. And D. Spearman owes you an apology. Usman, Edwards, all that stuff.
Appreciate you.
And there was somebody who commented in our very busy, very active live streams, and I missed the comment. This person, because I did not pin their comment, had an emotional breakdown on Twitter. Hates my guts. I probably am going to need a restraining order.
Doesn't hate me.
Very unreasonable response to somebody who didn't pin a comment. Wasn't a super chat, a regular comment. So if you're watching, I'm sorry for the permanent emotional damage I caused that I didn't pin your comment when we have hundreds of live viewers and thousands of comments by the time this thing is done. You're free to fuck off.
What?
Next up at UFC San Antonio, we have Victor Altamirano taking on Vinicius Salvador. Victor Altamirano is 4-1 in his last 5, 11-2 overall, and he is coming off that stoppage win over Daniel De Silva, and he's taking on Vinicius Salvador, who's 14-4 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, riding a 4-fight win streak, and this is potential fight of the night on this card. Both of these guys have insane numbers. You'll see it when Jacob starts talking. The insane output, the insane volume from them. But I think the difference here is that Victor is a dog. So Vinicius is a long striker. He's got that crazy volume, solid accuracy. He thinks he has solid defense. You'll see him doing this stupid Roy Jones Jr. bullshit against the cage, which is infuriating. But he gets hit a ton. So his defense, Vinicius. You're going to say no, and then I'm going to show you the stats, and you're going to feel like absolute moron.
I said okay. Don't get
so.
I mean, holy shit, you're scared of me, huh?
He's taking on Victor Altamirano, who's fast. He's powerful on his feet. He also is pretty patient and calculated. He doesn't just come out wild. His striking differential is 7-5, which is impressive, and that speaks to his pressure. 7 is very high, and he is hit, but that's because he's constantly throwing stuff out there, making stuff happen, trying to make it work. He does have some sweeps and stuff from bottom, and he has a good enough get-up game to not be ridden out, but he can get taken down. I think Victor's going to win this fight. I think Victor's going to work in some offensive wrestling. The odds are sitting at a pick'em, essentially. Vinicius is sort of trending towards the favorite, but I just think Victor's more of a dog. I think Victor's going to come forward. He's hit less, and he's going to work in the grappling. So I like Victor Altamirano in this spot, and here's the stats I was talking about. Look at the significant strikes landed per minute. Vinicius is almost at 9, and Victor's at 7, but Vinicius is hit with 7. And if you go watch his fights, he really does think he's Roy Jones Jr. with his low-ass hands. What do you think, Jakey boy?
No, he is a very, very confident striker. As you mentioned, hands low, in your face, head movement, but he does land some quality shots, and once he has you hurt, he is not going to stop. I mean, that's why his significant strike number is so high per minute, because he just lays on you and throws volume until he puts you out, and he's got power as well, especially for this weight class. And he is, I mean, we have to mention this, he is trained by Amanda Hebas's father. So you know that he's going to come in, tough as shit, good striking, good grappling. Amanda Hebas obviously is the most well-rounded fighter, regardless of weight class or gender in the entire UFC. In Bellator, in the entire world. Amanda Hebas is just absolutely incredible, really. Just like her whole energy, like everything about her, like and her laugh, and just kind of her, because I follow on Instagram, and it's just kind of like her whole outlook on life. Like her posts are just
Would you shut up and talk about this fight?
What?
Talk about this fight.
Oh, yeah. So he's a really powerful, really powerful striker. And you mentioned Victor's offensive wrestling. He's going to need it. I think he really needs it because he is a decent boxer, but he will brawl, and you do not want to brawl against a guy like against Vinicius. So he needs to get this fight to the ground earlier. I think he's in big trouble, and he's willing to brawl. So I think he's going to be in trouble. He was dropped in his last fight. He does get hit, and I think Vinicius is a little bit longer. and a little bit quicker with those shots and gets it done. But if Victor's able to get a takedown or two, obviously he's right in there, because as confident as Vinicius is on the feet, when he's on his back, the confidence is absolutely gone. So that's what Victor needs to do.
I agree, and he's averaging almost 2.5 takedowns per fight, so we think he's going to have to get it there. But again, that low 41% takedown accuracy. I like Victor. You like Vinicius. This is a dead even fight. There's only a few on this card, so there's a lot on this card that the underdog can win. A lot of live dogs. This is one of the few where it's like an even line, and it could go either way. So this is going to be a tricky fight, and I think this is a DraftKings must, because they're both around the same price point, and whoever's going to win is going to score really, really well. I'm on the Victor side. I'll probably spend less money and be on that side. Throw him in my lineup. You going to throw Vinicius in your lineup, or are you going to leave it alone?
Am I like
blue looking
to
at your
you?
jagged, hideous face scar?
No, it looks like I'm like blue.
I mean, you're always a little sad.
Oh. Violet.
Okay.
Violet.
WeWantPicks.com, $10 to become a member. You'll get access to everything, including all of our bets for this fight. Jakey Boy's been on an absolute tear lately, and we already have bets for UFC 287 up, and we have never lost money at pay-per-view. The pay-per-views are just insane what we do on pay-per-views. $10 a month, WeWantPicks.com. Next up, at UFC San Antonio, we have Manuel Torres taking on Trey Ogden. Manuel Torres, 13-2 overall. 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that first-round knockout over Frank Camacho. He's taking on Trey Ogden, 16-5 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. And he's coming off his first UFC win. Manuel Torres, well-rounded guy, has dangerous striking, dangerous grappling. Striking's not technical, but he uses his knees in the clinch really well, and he just loves bombing away at legs and heads with his kicks. He's a long, skinny guy, and he does a really good job working with that. What are you laughing at? This comment?
Of me, dude, if you could see, I don't know if you can see my eyes in the replay, but I read the comment, and then I look at him, and he's just like...
Yeah. So this is the comment. Trey looks like someone just flashed him their dude. And then
I read that, and I look straight at Trey, and he's just looking at the camera, just like...
It is a rough look. And Trey is an athletic grappler. He's got solid takedowns, decent power in his hands. He's definitely a grappler. But if you run through his tape, you'll see that some of those submission wins were started by knockdowns. Cracks people, they get wobbled, they get knocked down, then he'll pounce on them, grab a neck, make something happen. Coming off that win over Daniel Zellhuber, where he was only 1 for 9 in takedowns. And that is why this is a tricky breakdown, because I think Manuel Torres is going to be the more successful guy in the feet. I think Manuel Torres is going to give Trey a very hard time on his feet. He's going to use the length well, keep Trey away. If I didn't just watch Trey get shut down 8 times in takedown attempts in his last fight, I'd be like, Trey's definitely going to win. But he was shut down 8 times in that fight looking for takedowns. So I got to go with Manuel here because, Trey just showed us he struggles with some of these takedowns, but this is another one of those. I mentioned there's a lot of mid-sized favorites. Manuel Torres being one of them. The line has tightened, but Manuel Torres being one of them, where Trey Ogden could absolutely 100% come out here, and all of a sudden he does get those takedowns going, and he'll win this fight. So Manuel's going to be the pick because he is long. He uses that well. I think his striking is going to be an issue for Trey, but honestly, prop bet wise, I might wait till Friday. We've had a lot of success with Bet Online with the more takedowns. We'll go ahead and throw something on Trey Ogden to get more takedowns. We'll see what that line is when that drops. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest question mark for this fight is Manuel Torres. Here's a favorite that should win this fight. I agree. I think he should win this fight. But he's been in 15 fights, and 14 of them have ended in the first round. So... yes, he should win, but if Trey Ogden is tough enough and hangs in there, we have no idea what's going to happen in the second or third rounds. We have no idea if he's got the mental fortitude, if he's got the endurance, the cardio, what he's going to do in that second round. So that's like the biggest question mark to me, because I think he should kind of dominate this fight. You mentioned Trey Ogden needs to wrestle. I think he absolutely needs to wrestle to win, because when he's striking, he's a little flat-footed, his head's on the center line, and he keeps his hands up. When you watch Manuel Torres, he loves when people don't move their head and keep their hands up because he throws these hooks that he has the placement on them. Instead of landing on the hands, it's right behind the hands, and he lands on your ears and above your ears every single time he throws these hooks, and that's what puts people down. That's how he's able to get those finishes. He also has submission finishes in there as well. So I think Trey Ogden is in big, big danger on the feet. But if he's able to survive, maybe he's able to just hold him against the fence, get out of the first round. There's just so many question marks that, yeah, Manuel Torres should win. If you're going to play him, it's probably more of a first-round play than just a money line. Get better value because after that, you don't know what's going to happen. So Manuel's a play, but even like a money line is like, you don't know what's going to happen after 5 minutes.
I agree. We've got a bunch of bets going for premium members. A lot of them are props and round bets because the money lines are super tricky this week.
He could end up being, minus 140 for a guy that's got 13 first round finishes.
Yeah,
it's like that seems like it's pretty good value, but once you start moving up the ranks, man, those first round finishes are no longer there. You know what I mean?
And we've seen a lot of guys break. We've seen a lot of guys that can't get past that, can't get their wheels going, and then all of a sudden they fold. I actually talk about that in another fight that we'll break down in a little bit, that he could just take whatever you give him. He could just take whatever you give him, and then people tend to get frustrated with that. You hit somebody as hard as you can, and it doesn't work. You're like, oh, shit, now what? So we'll see what happens here. But Manuel Torres, if you are on his side, $8,500 in DraftKings will be phenomenal money. Just like Jacob said, this is the type of guy, put up big-ass numbers, will make something happen, can do a first-round finish if history repeats itself. If not, well, he's going to get taken down, held down. I do think he'll get it done. Trey Ogden has been finished. He's not like the toughest guy that's ever existed.
Whoa.
But if his wrestling gets going, going to be some problems for Manny.
Who is the toughest guy that ever existed, do you think?
Toughest guy that's ever in MMA or in history?
Probably Jesus.
He rose from the dead. They threw him in a cave, and then, what's up, buddies? A couple days later. That was impressive. And now I don't eat fish. Only eat fish. I don't eat meat. On Fridays. WeWantPicks.com/bets. Use our link to sign up with any one of our partners, and we'll send you 50 ducks. I said ducks instead of ducks. This is a mess.
Poultry.
Oh my God.
Poultry.
This is an absolute mess. I don't know why this is a mess. I was prepared. I was ready to go.
I was not prepared, but it's not my fault. I'm not the one. I just can't get over it. It's just my camera feels like it's blue. Is it not blue?
Dabble-dee, dabble-die.
I'm blue.
The best good night of my life. I love that song.
That's not the song I was singing.
I know. You were singing I'm Blue, and the new BB Rex's song is a remix of that.
Who the hell is a BB Rex?
Grow up. Next up, at UFC San Antonio, we have CJ Vergara taking on Daniel Da Silva. You may know him as Daniel Lacerda. Bro is listed on every single website with a completely different last name. So it's one of those two. CJ Vergara is 10-4 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off that submission loss to Tatsuro Taira. Daniel Da Silva is 11-4 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He is riding a 3-fight losing streak. Daniel Da Silva, kill or be killed. Never seen a scorecard. He's either getting finished or finishing. He's never, ever seen a scorecard. CJ Vergara with those very nice lips. Jacob's admiring them now. He's a powerful striker, high-pressure guy, comes forward, clean boxing, solid knees. He likes to fight inside that pocket, use that clinch work. And he's just a high-pace, stay-in-your-face kind of guy. Daniel Lacerda, trying to find his footing in the UFC, but he's got decent control and pressure. If he ends up on top, he'll come forward, feast or famine, trying to get that finish, throwing wild, has some power, has submission abilities as well. I think CJ Vergara is going to get this done. CJ Vergara is one of my most confident picks on this entire card because he's a guy you know what you're going to get. He's going to go out there, come forward, get in your face, stay busy, and try to finish that fight. But he is tough. He's not a quitter. And I'm not saying Daniel De Silva is a quitter, but he's the type of guy that he goes out there, and if he doesn't get that finish immediately and you start to pressure him hard, he has a little bit of trouble with pressure. He has trouble with the pace, trouble with people in his face. And that's exactly how CJ fights. So CJ is one of my most confident picks on this entire card. But the reason I don't have a bunch of money on him in a money line bet is because he hasn't been like that. He's 3-2 in his last 5. He hasn't really found that footing yet where, okay, I'm positive that this guy is who he is, right? He lost to Tatsuro Taira, and Tatsuro's a beast. Everybody else, he came out, but he's had a couple of questionable losses. So I do think he wins, but I fully recognize Daniel De Silva is super dangerous. The only bet that makes sense here is does not go to a decision. That's the only bet. It's a juice line, but parlay that with some other stuff. CJ Vergara is the very confident pick. What do you think, Jakey boy?
I just cannot help. Well, first let's talk about CJ Vergara because I think you nailed kind of his breakdown and that the odds are probably a little bit wide in this fight. If I was setting them, it'd probably be like a -150, -175, somewhere around there because, yes, CJ should win this fight, but he's going to have to win this fight basically with toughness early, and that's a very dangerous and tall task against a guy that is very, very dangerous and wild early. I mean, there is going to be a moment where CJ is going to have to survive either on the ground with an armbar attempt, even if Daniel gets dropped, or with a wild strike. He does all the wild stuff. There's going to be a moment where CJ is going to have to survive, and he should survive. But when you watch CJ, or when I watch CJ, that's what jumps out is his toughness. I mean, he's very, very tough. There's nothing else that I'm like, oh, wow, he does. And this is, I'm going to keep saying this the whole night. There's so many big favorites where it's like, what does this guy do great? He's tough. That's great, and it should work, and that's a great opponent to be tough against Daniel De Silva because Angelo mentioned, and he nailed it, there's the first flurry, there's 2 minutes, there's 3 minutes, and then he will start to fade. So CJ's toughness should win him the fight, but I can't help but feel like that poor dude Daniel is just due for a win. Like it just feels like in front of the live crowd, if he wins, you know it's going to be in spectacular fashion. He got the knockdown against Victor in his last fight, and then just kind of like got too aggressive in the grappling on that. It almost just feels like he's due. That's a stupid breakdown. It makes no sense. CJ's a play because you should get it done, but there's just something about Daniel. It's like it feels like this might be his moment.
Yeah, listen, I hear you, and I love your breakdowns, but sometimes I avoid listening to you because honestly, you're a bit of a gobbler. And as of late, I've been watching you, and it's been very regretful. Very regretful.
I don't.
You're a gobbler who I regret watching. And my name is Vicky Namgill. Vicky thinks you're a gobbler, and she regrets watching you. Okay?
As of late, been watching him, been grateful. What? I bet you've had some other regrets too, Vicky. I bet you've got a closet full of regrets.
What a gobbler thing to say, right, Vic? Vic, is that not a gobbler thing to say?
I bet you got a few regrets on your own there.
Don't be such a gobbler, dude. Honestly, like... That's a perfect. And when I look at your face, gobbler, exactly.
Have you ever drove by some wild turkeys and honked your horn?
I've never honked my horn. No.
Because then they all when you honk your horn at them.
No,
I'm country, man. I'll tell you what, man. I'll teach you some things.
Jesus Christ.
I'll teach you some things, man. You drive around, you see some wild turkeys, you honk that horn.
Oh, you're this big, crazy outdoorsman. When we both lived in Florida and we were at the tiki bar getting drinks, you got a couple of mosquito bites. You walked around like a leopard, like you had AIDS lesions all over your legs.
They're called no-see-ums, and they're super dangerous. And in Florida, by the way,
super dangerous.
I got bit by a legit black widow, and I fucking survived. I almost lost my foot.
Mm-hmm. What a man. What a man.
But I survived. I literally got bit by a black widow, guys. I'm a survivor in more ways than one. And watch this. Imagine if I had a canister and it just out of nowhere.
I'm sure other things have made its way onto that camera, but didn't come from your wrist.
You're right. I got some power behind that thing.
Are you going to spend $6,900?
$6,900, you said.
$6,900 in DraftKings?
It's if you have multiple lineup, yeah, he needs to be in a multiple. He's just so dangerous. He should be, but
I agree. He's in your tournament plays, a couple of your lineups, and we have a DraftKings optimizer.
We do. How do you get that?
All you need to do is go to WeOwnPicks.com, become a premium member. The DraftKings Optimizer will be preloaded with ownership projections, scoring projections.
What?
And all you need to do is click a few buttons.
What?
And it will build up to 150 lineups for you.
What? They do that on the Pat McAfee show. I'm not stealing it. Somebody's going to come and be like, oh, you just steal it. Of course they do it on the Pat McAfee show, and it's fucking hilarious when they do it.
Anyway, the DraftKings Optimizer, genuinely, build yourself some lineups. Build some with CJ Vergara for sure. Build some with Daniel De Silva for sure, because one of these dudes is absolutely winning by finish and going to score well over 100 points. Anything to add here? You have any bets on this fight?
No, but CJ, he's a beautiful man. Both these gentlemen are beautiful, but CJ's just giving a little bit more effort to the camera.
It's the lips.
Although, if you look at Daniel's eyes for more than 3 seconds, I think you're really going to start feeling something. Give it a try.
Next up, at UFC San Antonio, we have Trevin Giles taking on Preston Parsons. Trevin Giles is 15-4 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off the first win at welterweight. He moved down to welterweight. He's 1-1, finally got his first win at his new weight class. He's taking on Preston Parsons, 10-3 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, coming off his first UFC win. And this is an interesting fight. Trevin Giles is open as even, now a very tiny underdog. Let's just call this fight a pick'em, even though Preston is essentially a favorite now. So the line is moving. We'll see what happens if it yo-yos, but Preston Parsons is a favorite. You had your opportunity to get him at underdog money, and you did not. But Trevin Giles...
It's back. He's -1 or 3 again. It's flipping back and forth.
I actually said that would happen in quick picks. I said people are going to look at this. They're going to bet on whoever's more affordable. Yeah, they're going to bet whoever's more affordable. And on its surface, I get that, because Trevin Giles he's actually very athletic. He's got a solid jab, decent grappling. His takedown defense is actually pretty good as well. He sets a nice pace, and he pumps that jab out there. And you're going to see the Roman Dolidze win. We'll talk about that in a second. And Preston Parsons is actually a very slick grappler who, up until his last fight, had 100% submission wins. Every single one of his wins was by submission. He's a BJJ black belt. He's very aggressive, throws big shots to set up those takedowns. But he's coming off his first UFC win. It was over Evan Elder, who we know is tough as shit. He had 4 takedowns, 8 minutes of control time. But what I love about that is it went the distance. We know a few fights ago you talked about whatever the hell his name was. All his wins are in the first round. We don't know what he's going to look like. Who knows, blah, blah, blah. Well, now we know Preston Parsons can fight for 3 rounds. And I love seeing that, because Trevin Giles is not a guy that you're just going to get out of there super quick, right? Trevin Giles is kind of a tough guy. And you're going to see the Roman Dolidze win on his record. And you're going to be like, Trevin Giles beat Roman Dolidze? Roman Dolidze should have just gotten a 1. Blah, 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 blah. The problem is, Trevin Giles did not beat Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze won that fight. Then you're going to say, well, how did he survive? Well, Roman Dolidze was cutting from 205 to 185, did the cut wrong, gassed like an animal, and basically had no energy after the first round, and then just coasted on just coming forward and throwing big shots over and over and over. Trevin is tough. This fight likely is a decision, but Preston Parsons is going to be my pick. I think he's going to get the wrestling going. I don't think Trevin Giles is as good as some of his wins. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I actually think that Trevin Giles is a very good fighter. That's why he was my lock of the week against Roman, and that was one of the most bailout lock of the weeks at the time. I couldn't admit it at the time, obviously, because it was lock of the week win, and I'll take every win that I can get. But, retrospect, Roman absolutely won that fight. But Trevin is a good boxer. He's a very well-rounded fighter, and he's a good boxer, and he has said himself he has the best jab in the UFC. The issue is whether it's true or not, it is a good jab. You just wish he used it. I mean, there's a lot of fights where he is just kind of dancing around, stalking people. He will walk people down, but he's just not doing anything. He's just not doing anything. When he snaps it out, he does have good success there. So it's hard to bet, and it's hard to trust a guy like Trevin Giles, who isn't super dangerous, can get out wrestled. If he's flat on his back, he will stay flat on his back for a little bit of time before he's able to get back to his feet, and can get out striked if you pressure him. He does not like pace. He does not like pressure. And that's exactly what Preston Parsons is. You saw that in his last fight against was a smaller guy in Evan Elder and a short notice guy, but he understood that. So he said, I'm going to outwork this guy. And that's exactly what he did. His grappling, his wrestling looked fantastic doing it. I think he gets in the face of Trevin Giles. I think he really disrupts the striking. I think Trevin gets frustrated, swings a little bit harder, makes some mistakes, ends up on his back, and Preston Parsons can really win this inside the distance. I'm Preston Parsons all the way.
Yeah, we both are. I have a half a unit money line bet on Preston. I got it at minus 105. Sounds like that money just is moving around, right? So you'll probably be able to get that or something close to it, or the line's going to take off. This one's hard to tell because it is yo-yoing. But I have a half a unit money line on Preston. I got him at that sort of underdog spot there. And I think he's going to get it done. I think Trevin Giles gets a little too much credit for the Roman win. He does have a nice jab, but to your point, doesn't use it very often. Pretty low volume guy.
If he
and
pumps
Preston's
it
just
out,
going to come forward.
Yeah, if he pumps it out, this is the perfect fight for Trevin Giles to pump that out because Preston's going to move forward. He's not the greatest striker, so he's not going to be bobbing and weaving. That jab should be there. So if Trevin is just pumping that jab out there, he can win this fight. He just hasn't shown that he's willing to really, really use that as a volume strike.
No, I completely agree. $8,000, $8,200. I'm going to avoid the $8,200 on Trevin Giles because he doesn't score well in his wins anyway. So he's not worth it even if you think he wins because it literally is just a jab. And that's a regular strike.
He's not a dangerous guy. Not a dangerous guy.
Well, and jabs are regular strikes. Jabs aren't even significant strikes depending on who's counting, but jabs typically are not significant. So those count, what is DraftKings, 0.2? 0.2 points for a jab. So anyway, Preston should be able to get some takedowns, get it going. 8,000 may be some solid value there. I've got the half a unit money line bet, but another bet that I may place is the takedown prop bets. Bet Online has it. I think DraftKings does as well. What DraftKings or Bet Online does,
they could mess this one up because Trevin's got wrestling, right? Or he has takedown.
Trevin has good takedown defense, so they may say
line up, yeah.
They may say Preston Parsons 5 takedowns. He's like, well, he's going to get less than that. He's not going to get 5.
No, I think they might have Trevin Giles as like a minus 115, like most takedowns. I think they might have him as a favorite, and that's a mistake.
Well, so just make sure you guys are a premium member. So on Fridays, I do the betting video. I give you pretty much all of my bets, a couple of Jacobs. The rest are for premium members. If you tailed all the bets I gave you in the free video on Friday, you made a bunch of money. All of mine hit in that video. Every single one of my bets in that video hit. And I think the ones for Jacob that I put out there hit as well. But what you miss is Fridays after I record that video, Bet Online drops all the takedown prop bets and all the significant strike prop bets. And there's some solid spots. I actually missed one this weekend. But there's always solid spots. I don't think we've ever missed a takedown one. And especially because what they do, you don't even need to worry about the line.
Well, it's hard to miss because when they mess them up, they mess them up.
Yeah, and he's not even talking about error. They just put out a bad line. Because it's literally just who's going to get more takedowns in this fight. And if it's Preston Parsons minus 200, yeah, he's going to get more. Trevin Giles is not shooting takedowns. Preston Parsons is going to get more takedowns. And if it's a tie or there's none, you get a full refund. You get the money back. So they're very safe bets. So make sure if you're a premium member, make sure you've linked your Discord because those lines do move very fast. Like there's times where I hit it, I throw it on premium, Jacob looks at it, he goes, oh shit, he goes to hit it, and like, it's a half a point different, instead of minus 110, it's minus 105, stuff like that. Any last words, Jakey? You gonna throw Parsons in your DraftKings lineup?
I think he's got some good value. I think there's more of a finishing value here than people think.
Yeah, what were you trying to avoid saying?
No, I was trying to think of the word I wanted, and then I also have like a cut on my tongue, so I keep like clipping it on my teeth, and it fucking hurts.
Okay. Next up at UFC San Antonio, we have Steven Peterson. The O is tough. Steven Peterson taking on Lucas Alexander. Steven Peterson 19-10. 2-3 in his last 5. He is coming off that loss to Julian Erosa. Lucas Alexander 7-3. 4-1 in his last 5. Coming off the short notice loss in his UFC debut. And this is another interesting fight to break down. Steven Peterson is a minus 160 favorite. And he is one of the toughest guys in the UFC.
Tall, too.
He's a really, really just a tough, gritty, in-your-face guy. We saw his submission defense against Chase Hooper in that win. We also saw his whole fighting style, and that just come forward, throw heavy. Come forward, throw heavy. Just try to make something happen. He will never be the more skilled fighter in the cage, ever. Chase Hooper fights a perfect example. He was not better than Chase Hooper as far as technique and skill is concerned. But he is as tough as the night is long, Jacob. And he just comes forward,
How long is yours?
bobs away. They're going on about 12 hours. Actually, today was the solstice where you have the equal number of
12, huh?
light hours, equal number of dark. So 12 hours. So he just comes forward, is gritty, in your face, and doesn't really break, right? His body gives up. His body will give up, but he mentally never will. And he's taking on Lucas Alexander. He's a powerful striker who loves to showcase. He uses kicks well. He manages range. He explodes in the pocket. His grappling is just okay. It's mostly there for defense, but he does use it so well defensively that he'll end up on top, right? He'll force a scramble, win the scramble, end up on top. But Lucas Alexander is very, very tough. And that's why breaking Steven Peterson fights down is always tough, because the guy is an animal. He'll just keep coming forward no matter what. And I could see a Lucas Alexander hitting Steven Peterson with some of these flashy, heavy strikes. Steven Peterson still coming forward, and then Lucas getting frustrated. Just frustrated as hell that it's not working. It's not stop. This guy is still in his face, still coming forward. So Steven Peterson's going to be the pick. But, and no offense to Steve Peterson, because this guy's great, I can't trust him with my money. Because he is so tough and he is so gritty, he will put himself in harm's way and just keep coming forward and just, fighting somebody as dangerous as Lucas Alexander. He could absolutely get caught coming in doing something wild. So Steve Peterson's the pick, staying away with my money. What do you think?
First of all, Steve Peterson is listed, what is that, 5'10". He was in front of me, like two people in front of me at security leaving when I left 285. I went to 285. It was no big deal. I was sitting lower section, said hi to Manny Hiba. She touched me, and I kind of touched her back. But he was in front of me in the security line, and I'm 3-4 inches taller than this guy. So, he's 5'10". I believe the 5'10". He looked all of 5'10". He was much taller than most people.
Yeah. Look at you correcting yourself.
And I'm 3-4 inches taller than this guy. So
sure.
That should tell you all you need to know. But it was funny because I was like, he had his UFC pack and stuff on, and I didn't know who it was, but I was like, there's obviously a fighter, and he looks so familiar. So I took a picture, one of those sneaky pictures, and I put it in the Discord. I'm like, who is this? And somebody's like, oh, it's Steven Peterson. I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, it is. And then I was like, oh, yeah, duh. Because he even had like his the Superman shirt on or whatever too. And I was like, oh, I should probably ask him for a picture. His face in that picture right there is how he looks 24/7 because he was in line of security, and I don't know, maybe he was in a bad mood, but he was just like this. I'm like, I'm not fucking asking this guy for a goddamn picture the way he's looking right now. He's a little pissed off, but yeah, I think you nailed this fight again. There's another one where when you watch Steven Peterson, what jumps out? Toughness. Toughness absolutely jumps off the page and nothing else. He's very well-rounded, very good everywhere, but nothing really stands out. And against a guy like Lucas Alexander, who kind of ran into a buzzsaw in his UFC debut in Joanderson Brito, this could be his big moment. He is a young, rangy fighter that can throw some strikes. Steven Peterson is very tough, but he might have to withstand some adversity early to then turn on his toughness, just like the CJ Vergara. Yeah, they should be able to be tough enough, but what if they aren't? So Steven Peterson should be the play. He should be able to out-tough this guy, do what he does, throw volume in his face, all that type of stuff, break him down mentally. But, as a favorite and as a minus 150 favorite, I was going to say there's better place to put your money, but on this card, there honestly might not be better places to put your money, but he doesn't really quite do it for me, but he should win this fight.
I think so as well. But yeah, if Lucas Alexander comes out, blasts Steven Peterson coming in, that's not going to be the most shocking thing that happens. And, we keep talking about risky bets. When we say that, we're really talking about risky money line bets, because I have a round prop parlay. The safety parlay is including prop bets as well. So, there's a lot of spots here. It's just not straight up, this person's going to win the fight, that person's going to win the fight type spots. DraftKings is interesting because it's going to be a tough week with DraftKings. I think the value in DraftKings is probably Lucas Alexander. I think he has the more finishing upside here. He hits very hard. He's very dangerous. And to your point, he lost to Joanderson Brito on short notice in his UFC debut.
If I'm remembering correctly, I think he slipped and then Joanderson got his back, if I'm remembering. So it wasn't even like a clean takedown, whatever. I think he slipped, and then as he was getting up, Joanderson jumped on, but I could be misremembering.
Yeah, for DraftKings purposes, I think Lucas Alexander at the $7,500 price point is very solid because he is a good powerful guy that's going to come forward and potentially could get a stop. It's just a very, very tricky card. Somebody said it in the live chat. This for DraftKings, every one of these fighters could score 100 points, and every single one of them could score 1 point. And that's honestly, outside of the women's co-main event, that's honestly the truth.
Yeah, and outside of the women's fights, there's so many of these fights where it's like, oh yeah, this could end in the first round. And then you look at it again, you're like, oh yeah, this could easily be a 3-round decision. I mean, there's just so many like matchups where it's like, this guy could tough it out and it goes 3 rounds, or this guy's going to finish this guy in the first round. It's so hard to bet hardly anything on this card.
Well, and speaking of round lines, we don't talk about that very much with premium, but if you become a premium member, you get the picks, the bets, all that stuff. But on the quick picks page, we also give our leans for every single fight as far as the rounds are concerned, the over-under for every single fight and their designated rounds by the bookies. And somebody commented last week that they tailed all of them. Those aren't bets. Those are just leans. Somebody said they bet on every single one of them last week, and it was like 13 for 15 or something like that were correct. So there's a lot of content on there. You can find your own spots as well. WeOnPicks.com. Become a premium member. It is only $10 a month, and we've had 2 people sign up in the last 10 minutes. Christopher C and Nicholas G. Thank you guys very much for becoming premium members. Poke around, link your Discord, do all
Join the Discord,
things.
guys. It's fun. We have so much fun in there. People in the
Discord
Discord right now, even though, I mean, there's literally people chatting in the Discord right now instead of the live stream. Those assholes. I literally went in there. I'm like, why aren't you guys in the live stream right now?
I get it. No, you're not wrong. The Discord is 100% free. Premium members can link their account to the Discord so they can have access to premium channels within the Discord, but the Discord is free. So everybody else, you're not a premium member.
And we do our best to keep it toxic free too. So it's not like a free for all Discord.
We boot
if you go in there, if people are getting weird, people are getting toxic. Obviously, you can argue, you can have fun and stuff like that, but we try and keep it as a nice Discord. And I think we do a good job. The mods do a good job for sure. Quint,
I completely agree with that. We've definitely established some rules, and because we'll always get somebody that comes in. They're copy pasting bets here. I mean, here's one. Fuck it. There's this kid Eyo, and you know what's annoying? We made a shirt about him. It's in my mailbox right now. I should be wearing it. I'll wear it Thursday.
Go get it.
I'll wear it Thursday.
I want to see how out of breath you get.
I'll wear it Thursday. He was in there, and the accusations against him were that he was copying somebody else's bets.
And that he was 15 years old, because I gave him a quiz because I didn't believe that he was actually. He said he was 30 or 35 or something like that. So I said, what show did you watch? If you stayed home from school and you were sick, what show did you watch? And there's a few answers you say. I'd say Price is Right was definitely one. Obviously, everyone's watching Price is Right when they're home. There's Unsolved Mysteries. There's all sorts of stuff. Because he grew up, if he was as old as he said he grew up in the 90s. So I knew what the answers would be. Do you know what he said?
What?
He said Arthur. I said, Arthur, they don't have cartoons on like that in the middle of the day because all the kids are at school. What are you talking about? This was the creme de la creme on top. He was like, I said, do you like Pokemon? Oh, I love Pokemon. He said, I loved Pokemon. I said, when was Pokemon on? He said, I think Friday nights. Friday nights for Pokemon. It was like every afternoon. It was on every afternoon. I'm like, what the hell is this kid talking about? So we'll catch you if you're lying in there. And you're fucking out of there.
Well, he didn't get kicked out for, I guess it was for lying. He was taking other people's bets, pasting them in there, pretending they're his, and that's not even what got him kicked out. Then he just got like everybody wants to be famous, man. Everybody wants to pretend that they're a genius and they've got the best this and the best that, and that's totally fine. We're all there to share information, make money, but every couple of months there's somebody comes in there, copy pastes other bets, pretends that they're theirs, pretends that they're the best, throwing shit out, and then it just progressively gets worse. Like, it doesn't stop at, like, here's some good bets, guys.
He made those
like
$500 bets with everyone.
He bet everybody in that Discord $500. Well, who was it on?
Paul Craig, I think.
Paul Craig. Yeah. Paul Craig. 500. Oh, I bet my... And then, obviously, Paul Craig lost. He bailed. And then he just showed back up like nothing ever happened a week later. And
we're
then...
like, hey, at least apologize. Like, we'll welcome you back, whatever. People make mistakes, but at least he was like... Like, all right, see you, bud.
Well, and then he started saying derogatory. Well, he started saying derogatory things towards women. No, you know where he is? He's a premium member. Every month he signs up. His name is.
So if you guys see Eyo or something else in the Discord,
it's our bet. He signs up every month as a premium member. He's probably watching this, and good for you. I know your name, dummy. Signs up And his username is EO22. He signs up as a premium member and then cancels. And then the month is up, signs up, cancels, the month is up, signs up, cancels. And it's like, I just saw it. I screenshot it. I sent it to you. I said to Josh, I'm like, this is EO. He's obviously in somebody else's Discord pasting our bets. You were up 20-something units. We were up 37 on the year. He's pasting them somewhere else, pretending he's the genius. And, whatever. I'll take the 10. Is what it is, big boy. That was a long rant about some turd in the free Discord that I promised you was more fun than that long rant. Next up at UFC San Antonio, we have Daniel Pineda taking on Tucker Lutz. Daniel Pineda, 27-14 overall, 1-1-3 in his last 5, coming off a no contest eye poke almost 2 years ago. Tucker Lutz, 12-2 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, coming off a grappling heavy loss to Pat Sabatini a year ago. And this is an interesting fight to break down. Tucker Lutz, good size favorite, continuing to move, probably should be. He's another one of these guys that should win this fight. The problem is Daniel Pineda is another feast or famine guy, 100% finish rate, both sides of that corn. He's also a very good wrestler himself. I know. Very good wrestler himself, solid grappling, comes out fast, very dangerous for all of 3 minutes. And then he just starts to slow down, quickly fades. But that initial burst is very dangerous, and Tucker Lutz has gotten into trouble in a lot of fights. Gets into trouble early. He does.
What we're talking about.
He seems to withstand it and be fine.
I just pray to God people are listening, Angelo. Because I don't want people on Sunday being, oh my God, that card screwed me up, it destroyed me. We're trying to tell you right now what's going on, people.
I hear, and listen, like, we make our money, well, a couple different avenues, but one of them is
strike while the iron is hot. Watching.
What?
That's what we do.
We make our money striking while the iron is hot?
Boom. No. Yeah. When we see the opportunity, we strike on it, but we're not throwing little stuff everywhere on everything.
You do, Mr. 30 units a week.
Well, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, I mean, all right. Anyway, we make our money selling premium entertainment, right? We get a lot of viewers and a lot of stuff. But selling premium, we make a good chunk of money. But the problem is we need to keep the quality up. I would rather have fewer bets. I would rather have 3 units of bets. And this past weekend's a good example. I only had 3 units going. So the fact that I profited 1.4, net profit 1.4 units on 3 is huge because I pick my spots. Everyone wants to focus on you being up over 20, which is spectacular, but you spent 20. So yes, you doubled, which is fantastic. But the point is, premium membership, it's about finding the spots. And this card...
It's striking while the iron is hot.
This card and this fight... That's why there's so many warnings here because...
Have you ever blown glass?
Tucker Lutz should... I'm not going to...
I'm serious, though. Have you ever done that before?
No.
Really?
Why would I have?
You never did that? We went on a field trip we went to southern Indiana. We went spelunking. Do you know what spelunking is?
No, I'm not from Podunk.
You really don't know what spelunking is?
No.
That's embarrassing. That literally is a little bit embarrassing.
What's spelunking?
You should not have. You should not have admitted that. That's when you go through caves. That's what it's called when you walk through caves. You explore caves. You're spelunking. We went through the caves. There's caves in southern Indiana, and then we also went to a glass blowing demonstration as well. And it's absolutely incredible. It's mesmerizing, honestly. I watch the videos. It never comes across your TikTok or anything.
Glass blowing videos? No.
It's incredible.
I have never given TikTok the inkling.
It really, the whole process is. How do you even think of this? It's incredible.
Well, once you go down that path, I don't know how anything exists. Anything.
Yeah. How the hell? Who does the bit? Like if you put me back in 1900. They would just think I'm an idiot because I'd be like,
it's Nate Bargatze. They're like, prove you're from the future.
Yeah. Oh, there's a phone. How do you make it? Well, I don't know.
Who's the president? I don't know.
Yeah.
He said he'd be doing worse going back in time than he would now because he knows nothing. Anyway, this is a tricky fight because Daniel Pineda comes out aggressive. 3 rounds, 3 minutes of high intensity power in his hands, solid wrestling, like really comes out to get this done. And then you risked walking in here in your underwear? Damn.
Well, that reflection did her some good back there.
I know. They can see in the... No, they can't. She's creeped around the side to get the
There's
monitor
so many
from
people that are watching like this. It just went like this, like it's a reflection. They're rewinding real quick. They're just now getting caught back from trying to rewind to see if there actually was a reflection.
Like the quick fun fact, since we're off the rails on the quick fun fact, since we're off the rails on this, TiVo. If you know, some of these people won't know what TiVo is. TiVo was
I barely know what it is. For Christ's
they
sake.
invented DVR. DVR didn't exist. You couldn't get it from the cable company. You had a separate box that you plugged cable in. It recorded. It was whatever. That Super Bowl where Justin Timberlake pulled it down and Janet Jackson's tit popped out, broke everybody's TiVo broke. Like the servers crashed, and that's how they found out. The government found out that TiVo was storing the recordings in the cloud, and they shouldn't have been. Everything was supposed to be local. But because the entire world hit pause, rewind, pause at the same time, everything crashed. And then they got in a lot of trouble. Anyway, Tucker Lutz should win this fight. He should be able to get the wrestling going. He is powerful. He should be able to come forward, get it done, big slams. But he was taken down 5 times by Sabatini. And Daniel's incredibly dangerous. Tucker's going to be the pick. I see him weathering the storm early, getting the takedowns, and getting a finish. This is another fight you could probably parlay, does not go the distance, and that's safer than any individual moneyline bet. I do not see this going to a scorecards. Daniel Pineda almost never does. Tucker Lutz, very tough guy, does have a good amount of decisions, but 100%, I don't see this going to a decision. That's going to be the bet. Lutz is the pick, but I'm not betting on him directly. What do you think, Jakey boy?
I just want to really quickly thank Pepe for the $49.99. I think that's worth interrupting the broadcast for. So he says, so premium is $10 a week, right? This money is from King Leon. Thanks, guys.
No. Premium is $10 a month, Pepe. A month. So thank you very much for the $50 super chat. It's not $10 a week. We're not doing the week nonsense, the per event. No. It's $10 for an entire month. And there's always, even when there's a week off, we always have future bets. So everything's on there. Everything's up and running. The data will be up there even for the week off. So thank you very much for the super chat. Incredibly generous
Isn't that
of you.
Kind of crazy. I mean, $2.
$2.50.
Hold on. $2. I think at 48 cents an event. If there's 4 events.
How is it $2.48 and not $2.50?
$2.48 if you do 10 and then you do the 4, but then you got to take the half cent off for their transactions.
What happened to you in the cave? You hit your head?
What's crazy is about the cave is when they turn the lights off, you don't know pitch black until you've been in a cave with literally no lights. You eventually, if you're in a room, you can start to see your hand. Like your eyes start hurting because it's so dark down there. It's a lot of fun. And the acoustics too. When I was singing.
It sounds great. $10. I saw you thinking about it. $10 a month, not an event. Correct. Okay. What are your thoughts? Did you break this down yet?
I didn't break it down, but no. I mean, it's basically just rinse and repeat for all these favorites. Tucker Lutz, yes, he should win. He should be tough enough. Again, as we mentioned the time before, nothing jumps out on the film, so it's like, yeah, he's going to be my pick, but this is another one of those fights on this card where it's like, it's not worth my money. It's not worth my time. It should be entertaining, but Daniel Pineda is tough. He is wild. So I honestly apologize because it sounds like these breakdowns are like all the same, but I mean, that's just is what it is. There's just so many just kind of mid-tier fighters on this card. And when you have mid-tier and lower mid-tier, some of the mid-tiers are going to be big favorites when they really aren't great fighters. So, but I will say Tucker Lutz getting out-wrestled by Pat Sabatini that's nothing to be discouraged about.
Pat's a very, very good grappler. Tucker Lutz is a very good grappler, and he was just out-grappled by a better grappler. It's just how that went down.
I like that.
Yeah, and frankly, it would be irresponsible of us to pretend that this is a phenomenal betting card and just be fake confident to get you to sign up for shit. I would rather a few people don't sign up because it's not a good card than have them sign up, have a poor experience, and then leave. So,
right. Like people always are like, "Oh, you guys are doing it for the bookies. You work for the bookies." Blah 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 blah. This would be the perfect card to be like, "Oh, bet all these big favorites if we really wanted to screw people," because this is not the card to do it.
Plus, I don't know how we would work for the bookies when we just did 37 units.
That's what someone accused me on the live stream. Oh,
Everybody
your live
says
stream
that
bets
shit.
aren't real money. It's no real money. I literally screenshot and I show it. It is my actual money. It's not. I wish it was casino credits or whatever the hell.
Not
other
only
people
is
bet
it
for.
real money, I basically had to do an intervention with Jacob to say, listen, man, I get it. Your actual bets.
I lost over $1,500 one stream live betting. That's the investment. That's why when people are like, oh, it's not real money, you should be thanking me because it is real money. That's why I get so fucking emotional about it. It's not an act, guys. When you guys watch the live stream, if you never watch a live stream, and people in the chat that have watched the live stream will tell you, I go absolutely bananas for every single bet I place because it's my fucking money. I don't want to fucking lose that money. Holy shit.
I
Jesus Christ.
literally called Jacob a few weeks ago. I was like, listen, dude, I get it. Like, you have the money to spend, you can spend the money, but you cannot be doing $100 units for the live streams. Your real premium bets, $100 units. Those are thoughtful, well thought out bets that you think you're going to hit. But the live stream bets are straight up for entertainment, and you place them for real.
Yeah. And
There's no
live
reason.
streams, I literally place them and I'll put it like, oh.
Yeah. You place them for real, but there's absolutely no reason those should be $100 units. So I basically forced Jacob to lower that for his own good. I have protected Jacob
but
from
we still throw
on
him in
more
there.
than.
I mean, we had Jack Shore, $150 inside the distance. We'll still do some stuff in there, and if we start winning, we improve. But yeah, that one card for live bets was not good, and I was doing $150, $300, $200, $250.
Well, and you're doing it for entertainment because you would
never
ever do those bets ever if you weren't on camera.
So thank me instead of criticizing me.
Well, that's why I was like, dude, you should not be doing that. We just got a new premium member, Patrick with no K. Last name starts with a W. Thank you very much, Patrick. We're moving on. Next up, at UFC San Antonio, we have a very interesting fight. Another one of these line flips. Chidi Njokuani taking on Albert Duraev. Chidi Njokuani is 22-8 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, coming off the TKO loss to Gregory Rodriguez after splitting that dude wide open.
Eye to eye.
He really was. He unibrowed him with a giant cut. He's taking on...
Good one, Angelo.
Thank you. I like that.
It feels nice to win one, doesn't it?
It is. I've been there. Albert Duraev. And look at that. See? I told you. Patrick without a K, W. Didn't say his last name out of courtesy for him. Just signed up to be a premium member. And since he signed up...
You said Patrick with a K?
Without a K.
Okay.
Lacole H. Lacole. That's a wild name. Welcome, Lacole. Albert Duraev, 15-4. 15-4 overall.
Might be time for the drug testing.
4-1. I honestly, and between the two of us,
might be time for the drug testing.
I've never. Honestly, me saying my body's my temple is going to be outrageous because of you should have seen my lunch. But like, I'm not a drugs guy. Never have been, never will be. Albert Duraev, 15-4 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, coming off the knockout loss to Joaquin Buckley after having some, and actually I think it was technically a TKO, a doctor stoppage, after having some success. Wrestling in this fight is very, very interesting because Chidi Njokuani, very good striker, crazy speed, crazy power, decent distance control. Not the highest volume guy, but he sticks and moves really, really well. His feet are never in this place for very long. His takedown defense is an impressive 75%. He's coming off that TKO loss to Gregory Rodriguez where he opened up the worst cut we'll ever see that didn't stop a fight. And then he came out in the second round. He gassed himself out trying to knock him out. The problem with Chidi is he's been taken down in 3 of his 4 UFC fights. And then if you go to Albert Duraev, this dude's a takedown machine. A takedown machine. If you stuff 8 takedowns, he's going to keep coming. He's going to keep shooting. He has Greco-style takedowns. He does have leg kicks, cage bullying. Very basic game plan. Come forward, work takedowns. He lost to Joaquin Buckley. He still had 2 takedowns in that fight. And that didn't make its way to the 3rd round. So Chidi Njokuani, open as an underdog, became a favorite. And the reason that happened is because he hits hard. He is fast. He is athletic. His takedown defense is solid. But what is worrisome here is that Albert Duraev is a very durable guy outside of his last fight, a very durable guy that will come forward, wrestle. And if Chidi's just taking too long to let his hands go, or he gets a little gun shy because I don't want to be taken down, he will be taken down. And this is another super tricky fight. I do like Chidi to win this fight. I think he can get his hands going, can get his kicks going, and can be that dangerous guy. But, man, Albert Duraev just coming forward. If Chidi slows down, coming forward, working the takedowns, could absolutely 100% get it done. This is another one. Takedown prop bet all day. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Well, I mean, that's going to be probably 4.5, and then it's
but maybe we get a
bad
line though. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this fight is really going to come down to how Albert Duraev wants to fight, because as you mentioned, sometimes he is that chain wrestler and he is that relentless wrestler. But against Joaquin Buckley, he was not that guy. He was walking forward, he was striking Joaquin, and that was a much different fight because those guys had trash talk. They were former training partners, so I'm sure he wanted to show Buckley, like, I don't have to wrestle you. I can still beat you the way I was beating you in training, and so it was probably a little bit different. But even if he comes in and tries to wrestle Chidi, especially early. In that Gregory Rodriguez fight, he showed some pretty good takedown defense. He's got a very, very strong whizzer when he breaks out of there, can overpower people because he is such a big guy in those scramble situations. And that's the way he likes to work that takedown defense. But he was pretty good at that. And what I like to see was he was this first round guy, right? Last 3 fights, whatever it was, first round, no real adversity. In that Gregory Rodriguez fight, he almost had Gregory Rodriguez out of there. Then Gregory hurt him, kind of dropped him. It was, he's kind of knocked down, but he wasn't like completely put out. But it was adversity, and he worked through that. He worked through the adversity. He came back. He looked strong, ending the first round. Obviously, he ended up getting finished anyway, but I like that he had that adversity and he wasn't a quitter right away, because you never know, right? After you had those first round finishes, he was able to work through that. So I think he's able to stuff the takedowns early and find the chin of Albert, who isn't as relentless as you'd like him to be. If he is, as Angelo mentioned, he can definitely win this fight. But if he's, a minute and a half, 2 minutes in between takedown attempts, Chidi's going to find that dude and he's going to put him out.
No, I completely agree. I wanted to go Duraev here because I just like relentless wrestling. That is a tough. I mean, somebody just commented here. We just saw this with the Piotr Jan fight. The difference is Chidi's way more dangerous than Piotr is, respectively, and Albert is far less relentless than Merab is. Yeah. If Albert was Merab relentless, just nonstop trying to wrestle, I actually would throw some underdog money on him. But he's, what are the stats? He's averaging 2 per fight and at a 21% accuracy. So
he needs to shoot literally at least 5 around, probably, at least in that first round. He needs to get on Chidi earlier. And by the way, because his nickname is Chidi Bang Bang, or Chidi Bang Bang, I actually, because you had never seen it, but I sent you that clip. Do you remember that clip I sent you and how fucking creepy that movie is? Of the guy luring the kids. I've got your candies, come get your candies. And then the kids come out and he throws them in the van and takes them away. It literally is just all about kidnapping children and putting children on display for rich people to watch them dance and stuff like this. It's the craziest movie of all time, and it literally still scares me today. That guy, got your candy, come get your lollipops, come get your lollipops.
That explains why you don't leave your apartment.
Yeah, candy, fuck yeah. And they just jump in that van. Holy shit, it's terrifying. Do you remember that clip I sent you?
I think so. And that explains why you don't leave your apartment. You're still afraid of being kidnapped to this day.
Well, probation says I'm not allowed to leave.
No, probation says you can't go near the school. You're allowed to go out.
I live across the street from the high school, so that should stuff all that stuff. Because I don't think I was allowed to be allowed to live,
Send a picture.
Oh, I've got plenty of them. With or without kids. with or without kids in it.
Yeah.
It is funny. No, it actually is funny because I will take my dog and I'll go and I'll walk around the high school because there's not a lot of areas to walk around here. So I'll walk around the high school. And so I do take scenic pictures of the high school. So I literally do have pictures of the fucking high school.
Absolute
scalping it out.
Yeah. Scope.
Here's a camera and then there's a camera there.
Absolute dog creep. $7,400 in DraftKings. If you think Albert Duraev gets the takedowns going, that is a great price point. That is a phenomenal price point. And we're going to check his stats in that DraftKings video because even in that Buckley fight, he had 2 takedowns, a little bit of control time. You know, if you're scoring 30, 40 on a sketchy card like this and you're going to get $7,400 out of him, that's probably not a bad value there. But Chidi could most likely win.
I'm a big Chidi guy, so I hope that he snipes this dude. Big Chidi.
And he very well could. Guys, become a premium member. WeOwnPicks.com. It is only $10 for the entire month. And not only are you going to get everything for this event, we also have future event. Jacob just threw 3 units on a UFC 287 bet. Yeah, UFC 287 bet.
And a future bet as well. That
Super
involves
future. two future bets you have on there.
Involves Leon Edwards.
So anyway, all of that available to you instantly at WeOwnPicks.com.
We're getting all sorts of donations, man. We appreciate all the support.
Thank you all
it's
very
crazy.
much.
Appreciate you guys.
Even just watching. The numbers that we do are nuts impressive. There's nobody that does our numbers in this space. Nobody. And you can't say guru because he's not in this space. He's a live streamer.
Wow, that was very disrespectful. Somebody's going to clip that and send it to him. He's going to react to it.
He's breaking down cards in this detail and talking about every single aspect.
I don't watch him.
He's a live streamer.
Seems like a fun guy, though. I don't watch anyone.
You really don't, because I'll talk about people like, who's that? Who?
I don't watch anyone. I don't let it.
And people contact us.
I don't let it corrode my. And that's honestly what it is, because I don't want to try to do what other people do, and I don't want to be like, oh, they're doing this, so I should try to do this. I literally do my own thing. I'm in my own space. I don't watch anybody else, and people seem to love it. Love you, love me.
Listen, I hear you. I do watch other people, not for the opinions, because I'm
going to sing for them.
No,
this would be like sing for them. Touching hands, reaching out, touching you, touching me. Oh
that's
my
the
God.
Red
You don't
Sox
know that song?
I do know the song. It's the Red Sox
song. You just fucked it up. You just completely. That was going to be a nice moment there. Oh my God, you're from the Northeast. You don't know that song?
I'm a Yankee fan, not a Red Sox fan, so we don't sing that filth.
Fuck the Red Sox song. Fuck the Sox.
Anyway, $5 super chat from Pepe Silva. He said, will either of you be placing an early bet on Arnold Allen, currently at plus 135? Also, where do you see that line closing?
That's a
really tough fight. It really
comes down to what is Holloway going to be, old Holloway, or is he going to be a little bit slower? You don't know how he's going to show up, honestly, and that's kind of weird to say. And I saw him in Vegas not the last time, but the time before that in Vegas. That dude looks like he's walking around 6'4". I mean, he is like, when you think of like a 145 like Max Holloway, that dude is fucking tall, and he was big too. And his wife is smoking. She was in sweatpants and a hat, like no real makeup on. Hey Max, hey, nice one, bud.
Congrats, Max. $10 super chat from Quint Lazamy. This is his third WWP, growing a huge community. Join that Discord. Thank you, Quint. As always, very, very much. And the Discord is free for everybody. That isn't just like a young weirdo or a creep. Completely free. The link is in the description or on our website. Big ass button right on top. Join the free Discord. How did I pronounce Pepe Silva wrong? Oh, Sylvia. Oh, it's Sylvia?
I didn't know that either.
Oh, my bad.
Wow, we've been fucking up the whole time.
My bad.
Holy shit.
Next up at UFC San Antonio, we have Alex Perez taking on Manuel Kopp. Alex Perez is 24-7 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, riding a 2-fight skid. He's taking on Manuel Kopp, who is 18-6 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, riding a 3-fight win streak. Alex Perez, a very solid striker, great low kicks, solid wrestling. He comes in, has nice clean combinations, then he finished those with light kicks.
Hold on.
Nice, clean combinations.
You didn't say ice cream combinations.
Of course.
Because earlier you said corn. Now you're saying ice cream combinations.
We're going on a cruise. We're going on a cruise in 2 months.
Can somebody check his insulin levels?
We're going on a cruise in a few months, and Tiffany has me on a diet. She's working out like crazy, and she's making like grilled chicken and shit. And so now this is my body reacting.
All that work just to wear a t-shirt in the pool. All that work just to fucking, not even a white t-shirt either. That thing's gonna be fucking dark, slim, with the vertical stripes to make it even slimmer. Oh shit.
All that.
Looking like a referee in there. Fucking lifeguard.
Oh, shit. That's solid. I will never swim with a shirt on. FYI.
Not
since
anymore. Not
since
anymore. Not since you got bullied.
Anyway, Alex Perez is a nasty striker. Great leg kicks. Literally has finishes by leg kick. 77% takedown defense. Probably not going to need that in this fight. He's taking on Manuel Kopp. Fast, explosive striker who has no issues chasing a knockout. He is a southpaw. He has nice pressure, bounces in and out of range really well. The knock on him is fight IQ at moments, right? At times, he gets a little caught up, wants to have too much fun, and does some things for the fun instead of to win the fight. And this is a super close fight. I don't agree with these odds, and like you said, this is a broken record of a card. Alex Perez is nasty. He will come forward. He will chop your legs out. He will stay busy. He will go in your face and make stuff happen. And
back-to-back buzzsaws is what he ran into. I mean, with his last two fights. I mean, those are absolute buzzsaws.
No, 100%. And those losses were, one was to Figgy when Figgy was still the champion and destroying everybody.
Champion, yeah.
And then the other was to Pantoja, who's probably going to get the next title shot. Or
like even scarier than Figgy was in his prime. I mean, Pantoja's terrifying.
No, absolutely. So Alex Perez is much better than people are giving him credit for. The line has moved to represent that. But Manuel Kopp is very skilled. He has power. He has the accuracy. He moves really well, and he could do a lot, including wrestle if he needs to. This is not a fight I'm going to bet on. Manuel Kopp is the pick, but I was so close. So close to picking Alex Perez. And honestly, I may watch weigh-ins and I may change my mind. Because like I said, Manuel Kopp sometimes will go out there and have a little too much fun. And Alex Perez, he's all business. He's going to try to win that fight. And if you're going to be dancing around doing it, he doesn't care. He's going to come forward, stay in your face, and try to get it done. What do you think?
Yeah, let me say two things right off the bat. I will always be transparent in the way that I pick. I am a Manuel Kopp hater. I 100%. And the other thing I'm going to say is every time I pick his fight, I pick it wrong. Every time I've picked him, he's lost. Every time I've picked against him, he has won. I'm scared to death for him in this fight. If you're playing the Manuel Kopp side as the favorite, because as Angelo mentioned, Alex Perez is kind of a nonstop guy. He's a fantastic wrestler. He's got those leg kicks. And Manuel Kopp is a guy that will just kind of take rounds off. He just won't do anything. And there's so many fights where he is losing the fight and then he ends up winning the fight. And I think that it could be the exact same situation in this fight where Alex Perez is throwing the volume, throwing the pressure, and Manuel's losing. But as Alex is throwing those leg kicks, Manuel is timing those leg kicks, and then he finds one of those big power shots because he does have crazy power for the flyweight division. So I'm going to choose Manuel Kopp as well, but I assume that he's going to lose now because I can't make his fights right. He just drives me insane because he's just so overconfident. He is a good fighter, but he's just way too cocky into where he's like costing himself fights because he's doing cocky stuff. Hands behind his back, not throwing strikes, doing the dancing, this and that, in fights that are close. I need somebody that will go out there and push the pace, push the pressure. It is Alex Perez, but I'm going with Manuel Kopp because he should be the better fighter overall in this fight. So he's probably going to lose.
No, I completely agree with you. I may honestly end up throwing a bet, flipping my pick and throwing a bet on Alex Perez. That'll be one that I'll wait for weigh-ins just to see. Alex Perez, it's been a while. He's had some tough matchups.
I think he looks like Colby in this fight. I think he just goes all in on the wrestling. He goes back to what he knows, he trusts it.
Alex Perez, sure.
Yeah, I think he just goes all in on the wrestling because he is a fantastic wrestler, and I think he really just tries to wear down Manuel Kopp, but...
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, this may be a what?
No, it's just a weird pause.
I mean, look at this stupid-ass comment. Perez, worst fighter in the UFC. Absolute trash comment. Some people aren't as smart as us, Jakey. Some people are just not as smart.
Nobody's as smart as me, and that includes you.
Okay.
Do any, I swear to God, I can do any math, like plus this, get out your phone and do it. I swear to God, you're not going to believe it. And I'm not looking at anything. I'll close my eyes like this, and I'll tell you.
I believe you have a little bit of autism in you.
No, go ahead. I'm serious.
Okay. 230 plus 65.
230 plus 65?
That's so easy.
I know it.
Wow. That is good.
Yeah.
You going to share it with us?
No, I know. I obviously know. I obviously know it. No, I know. I know it. I can do anything. Do another one.
6.5 inches plus never used. You know that one. You know that. Is that, I mean, there it is. There it is. Okay. There's your man. There's your hero, guys. All 5, 6 of them. There he is. Notice he didn't even get out of frame when he stood up. That's how slight his frame is. Very slight. Very slight. There he is. Okay. Don't talk about
you gave me 6.5, and I'll take that.
It was such a weird default. Next up, at UFC San Antonio, we have Andrea Lee taking on Maycee Barber. Andrea Lee, 13-6 overall, 2-3 in her last 5, and she's coming off that decision loss to Viviane Araújo. Maycee Barber's 11-2 overall, 3-2 in her last 5, riding a 3-fight win streak. This is another interesting fight. I'll tell you right now, I'm picking the underdog. I'm going Andrea Lee here.
Woo!
I get it. Maycee Barber can be solid. She moved to alpha male. There have been improvements since she's moved to alpha male. But, Maycee Barber, solid striker, very clean boxing. Her wrestling is improving, but she's not really a grappler at all. But she does have some well-timed takedowns when she needs them. She was able to take down Montana De La Rosa, Jessica Ai, and even Miranda Maverick. She's tough physically, but mentally she can break. I know No, that was a dramatic pause. But mentally she can break. We most famously a while ago against what the hell's her name? Come on. They both Modafferi. Roxanne Modafferi beat both of these women actually, but Maycee sort of spiraled, and it's been a while, and she's grown since then and stuff like that. But I just think that she's going to come forward. First of all, she did not beat Miranda Maverick. That was a bad decision. So she had 3 losses in a row, essentially. The Montana De La Rosa fight was nice. That was a nice win for her. Jessica Ai retired. That's not a great win. Meanwhile, Andrea Lee is fighting Viviane Araújo. Andrea Lee, Alexa Grasso. She's fighting killers, ranked people. She's fighting, the upper-ish echelon of the division. She did also lose to Roxanne Modafferi, but Roxanne Modafferi is a tough out for a lot of people. I think that Andrea Lee can keep this technical, keep it striking. She is a good technical striker. She's very dynamic. She uses her strikes really well. She's also incredibly tough, and she has improved grappling. She had 3 takedowns over the Shevchenko sister, 3 takedowns against Roxanne, 3 takedowns against Joanne Wood. And some of those were losses. So she'll make the adjustments. She'll try to get it done. I like Andrea Lee in this fight. I do think she wins. No bet here. We'll see what happens. Maybe a plus 3.5. I don't know. But I like Andrea Lee to beat Maycee Barber. But this is also a fantastic fight to see if Maycee Barber is as good as she's supposed to be, right? Because she was supposed to be a big deal. And then she went on that skid. What do you think?
They clean the bowl so you don't have to.
What?
You know what that is? They clean the bowl so you don't have to. Huh?
No, I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's Joe Dirt. It's pretty well
Joe
known.
Dirt.
Pretty well known movie. I will be fully transparent with you guys. I was transparent about Manuel Kopp. I'm a Manuel Kopp hater. I am also a Maycee Barber hater. I think there is hardly anyone more overrated than her except for Aaron Blanchfield. I think they're both 2 peas in the same pod as far as overratedness in this mixed martial arts industry. And Maycee Barber is a decision fighter. I think we both would agree she's a decision fighter in wins and losses. She's tough, but she's not very dangerous. And as we say in women's MMA, when things go to a decision, because these girls are so close competitively together, if you're not a dangerous fighter, you just don't bet them. Just promise me nobody is putting Maycee Barber in their fucking parlays. Stop. Don't do that. Yes, she might come in, use her wrestling, win this fight, decision fight. It's just too close, and Andrea Lee is way too dangerous on the feet. She is a very aggressive striker and very precise striker. She will throw those elbows, lead elbows, do some wild stuff. She's going to be in Macy Barber's face. It's going to be up to Macy Barber to either withstand that and then kind of outgrind Andrea, because Andrea probably will get tired. You saw in the Vivi fight, she did get a little bit tired, or get the takedowns that she needs. And I don't know if she can get those takedowns. So, I am going to pick Macy Barber, because I just feel like I'm just way too biased to pick Andrea Lee for some reason, because I do think that she's going to be able to find the takedowns. Vivi eventually was able to wear her down, and if Macy's getting the takedowns, she should be able to wear Andrea down the same way. But this is a dangerous fight. Please don't put Macy in a parlay. I don't want anyone on Sunday being like, oh my God, my parlay would have hit if Macy didn't lose. I don't want to hear it.
I would argue that that Andrea Lee is the one more likely to shoot takedowns, though. She literally averages more per fight, and she uses them. So. I think
really
Macy
will default to the wrestling pretty quickly
because she's going to be losing the striking exchanges.
Because of the pressure of Andrea Lee. Yeah.
No,
but I just think she's able to get the takedowns. Yeah,
sure,
we see the fight going the same way. It's just I think Macy can get those takedowns, and you think Andrea can keep it on the feet. And
she is at Team Alpha Male, and honestly, the Team Alpha Male
Guillotine. Somebody called him that. I can't remember who that was. Team Guillotine.
It was a redneck that said it?
Team Guillotine. I knew that he was just coming chasing get-tins. Get-tins.
It actually took me a second to be like, what word did he just say?
Chasing them get-tins.
I do think, I agree with you. I do think Andrea Lee will win the striking exchanges, and her takedown defense is not great, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. That's why there's no bet. There's a lot of unknowns, but 270 favorite seems a bit wide in a fight like this.
Fighter against a girl.
And what did Andrea? So Andrea Lee, was it her boyfriend? It was her husband that had Nazi tattoos, right?
I think it was Tony Kelly who.
No,
it wasn't Tony Kelly.
Her husband had Nazi tattoos. Tony Kelly was screaming racist Brazilian.
Oh, he was like the dirty Brazilian stuff. Vivi, yeah, he was talking about Vivi because Vivi's my girl, and unfortunately my girl got beat by my now. I don't know.
And then the other. And then the other, didn't Andrea Lee throw like a temper tantrum in a fight too? Wasn't there something that she did too where people were like, these two?
I thought Macy did something like that.
No, her dad lost his mind.
She blew her knee out.
Yeah, her dad lost his mind on Roxanne Modafferi.
Why?
And he has a tattoo of his own daughter. Doesn't he have a tattoo of his daughter too? I think he has a tattoo.
Roxanne was actually cool about that fight because she knew that Macy's knee was tore up, but she kept grappling her. She didn't make her stand on her feet. Because Roxanne Lily, after the fight, was like, oh, he kind of felt bad. Because that's just like the most typical Roxanne thing ever.
Well, either way, I think Andrea Lee, $7,100 is probably, we're going to see how well she scores, but that's a great price point for a fight that should be, I think Macy should be the favorite, but maybe 130. 140, 270 seems a bit steep, but the line moved. It would open up minus 190. People hit the hell out of it. So a lot of people very confident in Macy Barber here. Next up at UFC San Antonio, we have the feature fight of the evening. We have Nate the Train.
It'd be awesome because there's a train tracks like right by my apartment. If all of a sudden I heard a train, I opened the thing and they blew the whistle right when you were saying that. Oh my God. If only God would let us.
And only the nicest places are sandwiched between high schools and railroad tracks. Nate Landwehr taking on Austin Lingo. Nate Landwehr 16-4 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off the underdog win.
Are you laughing at yourself?
No.
It sounds like you thought about it.
I wasn't laughing at myself. I looked at your face.
No, I looked at your second one of the night. And you just couldn't help but just fucking giggle.
I wasn't laughing at myself. It was your face.
Oh my God! Can't believe you didn't reach back and pat yourself on the back. Fucking literally, you stupid.
I can't
fuck.
reach my
Don't
back.
ever talk to me like that again.
It was.
You said you can't reach back there. That's 3. Hey,
it was your.
That's 3 now. 3 laughs from Angelo. That's a fucking record. Holy shit.
Yeah. I'll have sex with my chair in live streams, and then we just don't need you anymore, do we?
Well, consensual.
Nate Landwehr taking on Austin Lingo. Nate Landwehr, 16-4 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off the underdog win. He was Jacob's lock of the week against David Onama. He's taking on Austin Lingo, 9-1 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, coming in after his UFC Las Vegas fight was canceled. Wasn't his fault. His opponent missed weight by like 9 pounds, something absurd. Fight was canceled. He is now fighting in Texas. He is a Texas boy. So I'm sure him, similar to, what's her name from earlier? Hailey Cowan from earlier.
Andrew Lee?
But Andrew Lee was already on this card.
I think meant just people, Texan fighters that are fighting.
There's a lot of Texans on it. It's a fucking Texas card, dummy.
Oh.
So he cut weight, did all the things, and now 2 weeks later going through the whole thing all over again. That is a concern for me, but I still think Nate's going to get it done. But Nate the Train, fights like a train. He just keeps moving forward, absolutely wild, sets a pace, just chases finishes, and will do anything possible to get that fight to the ground and get it over with. He is high intensity, high pressure. Both his striking and his grappling are high intensity, high pressure. And I mentioned he's coming off that win over David Onama. He had 3 takedowns, 2 submission attempts, landed more strikes, but he was still knocked down and still almost finished. Well, and that's why
I think we need to give him a little bit more credit because he was completely unconscious. I mean, he got hit and was like just frozen. And once he hit the mat, he like woke back up. He literally was put out unconscious, hit the mat, and came back and won that fight.
Well, and that's what makes this pick a little trickier than what you think it should be, because Austin Lingo, he just cut weight 2 weeks ago. This is short notice-ish. He should lose, right? Nate should be better. He should be grittier. He should be able to get it done. But Austin Lingo hits very hard. We haven't seen him win by knockout yet in the UFC, but he has knockdowns in his 2 UFC wins. He's a striker. He's light on his feet. He's got speed. He's got that power. He mixes in elbows really nicely, uses his jab really well. And I mentioned no knockouts yet, but has 2 knockdowns in the UFC, and his takedown defense is 80%. And he's going to need that in this fight. I do think Nate's going to win. I think he's going to set that pace. I think he's going to come forward. I think it's going to be high pressure. So I do think Nate's going to win, but it's going to be dicey. He's going to be hit. And Austin Lingo is very, very good. And the reason I'm leaning Nate is that weight cut 2 weeks in a row, or 2 times in 3 weeks. That does do something to your body. That does affect your cardio, and you need all your cardio against a guy like Nate. So Nate's going to be the pick, but not touching it. Don't like these odds. Austin Lingo is much, much better than what these odds are saying. What do you think, Jakey? Boy.
Yeah, Nate the Train, I mean, one of the greatest lock of the weeks of all time, especially because I said that's exactly how it's going to play out. He was going to have to overcome some early adversity, and then he was going to be able to outwork Onama, and that's exactly what happened. The issue for this fight is, yes, he is the better fighter in Austin Lingo, basically everywhere, right? And Angelo mentioned the grappling advantage that he should have in the wrestling and the grappling. And he should be able to outwork Austin Lingo. Austin Lingo's a tough dude. I don't think he's going to be able to out-tough Austin Lingo kind of as he did David Onama, but as far as like outwork him, I think he can kind of outwork him, put him on the back foot, and win the fight that way. The issue is, and what Nate Landwehr showed in his last fight, he doesn't give a fuck about winning the fight. He wants to be entertaining. I mean, in the second round, in the third round of that fight, he had this guy, David Onama, in a full crucifix, basically. Just needed to land 2 more strikes, and he could have finished it. He just stood up, walked away, let David Onama get back to his feet, and then he almost got knocked out a couple times because of it. I mean, he was not holding positions because he wanted to play to the crowd, and this is in front of a crowd, and they are going to go absolutely crazy. So I don't think that he's going to use wrestling. He's going to use grappling. He's just going to come in. He wants to be entertaining. He's going to throw crazy strikes, chin up. I mean, he will stand in front of you with his hands and be like, fucking hit me if you want to. And that's just so dangerous for a guy from minus 250 money. So yeah, he's the better overall fighter, but if he's just going to stand and throw haymakers and box with this guy, Austin Lingo, this literally is a coin flip fight. This is a coin flip fight. I mean, Nate gets dropped by everyone, and he might have to overcome some adversity again. So yeah, Nate's the better fighter, but he's shown I'm willing to not be the better fighter, and lose a fight to be entertaining. He doesn't care. He wants to be the entertaining guy, and that's always dangerous for somebody to bet on. Always dangerous.
No, 100%, and he's sitting at a $9,400 in DraftKings, a minus 225 favorite. I don't think he's going to finish Austin Lingo. Austin Lingo is very tough. Austin Lingo's much better than, people think he's better than the opening odds because now he's, he was bet down from plus 250 to plus 190. Still almost a 2-1 underdog, and I may throw a couple of bucks on him in that underdog spot. I don't typically bet on underdogs that I don't pick to win because that just feels like wasted money.
Right.
But this is I'm just going to have to see how the weigh-ins go. Because the weigh-in is the reason I went with Nate Landwehr. The fact that Austin Lingo weighed in 2 weeks ago, flew to Vegas, did all the things.
Because then it's like, do you put the weight back on? How much weight do you put back on?
It's a lot. It's a lot going on. How soon was he matched up?
But mentally, it's like, when do I start the cut again? How heavy can I get?
How soon was he matched up with Nate? Like, when did those conversations start? Did he, like, there's so much that goes into that, and that does wear on your body. Like, we talk about athletes peaking, and did you peak at the right time? And that's a complete mess to cut all that weight, make it, then be that disappointed, probably ate his face off for a few days. Who knows when they said, oh, actually, in your town, so there's a lot going on there. That's the only reason I picked Nate, because without all of that, if this was just straight up full camp, I think I'm picking Austin Lingo. We'll see how weigh-ins go, what he looks like. And I may end up with a bet on Austin Lingo. So make sure you are a premium member and you have your Discord linked, because I film the betting video before the weigh-ins. So if things change after weigh-ins or during weigh-ins, premium members, you'll get those alerts. You'll see those bets. You'll see the new props. Those drop after weigh-ins as well. WeOwnPicks.com is $10 a month. Do not be a cheap bastard. Like, what are we talking about? Even if you don't bet.
It's $2.48 a card.
Even if you don't bet, you don't do any of those things, you just love the content, love what we're doing, become a premium member, because it's not just about that. We do our live call-in show on Thursdays. You can call in, ask us questions, interact with us on the stream. That is only for premium members. And we have so much more that we're going to give to premium members that are outside of sort of just the bets and just more content-related, fun, interactive stuff. WeOwnPicks.com, $10 a month. Next up, at UFC San Antonio, we have my most confident pick on this entire card. And that's 100% honest. We have Holly Holm taking on
first then.
We have Holly Holm taking on Yana Santos, formerly Yana Kunitskaya. Actually, hold on. I forgot this super chat. $5 super chat from Pepe Sylvia. $5 for the laugh record, because I roasted Jacob's stupid ass a few times. Thank you very much, Pepe, for another super chat. Next up, at UFC San Antonio, we have Holly Holm taking on Yana Santos, formerly Yana Kunitskaya. She is married now. Sorry, Jakey boy. Holly Holm, 14-6 overall, 3-2 in her last 5. She is coming off.
If anyone, I'm marrying Holly Holm, because it kind of looks like me if I was cross-dressing.
And
that's what I'm into. Me.
We've said this before. Jacob
Here we go.
Genuinely jerks off to his own asshole in the mirror. It's his kink. It's very strange.
And everyone in the chat, ask Angelo how he knows that.
Because you insist on telling us.
Because you insist on paying me for video after video, and it's gotten look at that. Okay,
I
like trying to play it. Things got real uncomfortable there. Angelo's like, okay. I'm like, how do I act like it's a joke? Do I act like it?
I wonder which one's more believable. Anyway,
listen to the tone.
Holly Holm coming off that controversial loss to Ketlin Vieira. She's taking on Yana Santos. 14-6 overall, 3-2 in her last 5. She's coming back after almost 2 full years away. Holly is 41 years old. That's normally a big fade. Like, oh, that's super old. But at 41 years old, she hasn't.
Because last week you got called out for being 40. You're like, 41's really not that old, guys, if you think about
it. Well, I'm not 40. I'm 39, but yes. Mm-hmm. But Holly doesn't fight a style that age really matters. She's not taking damage. She's not relying on wild speed. Like, she is clean, technical, uses her side, her footwork, her size, her footwork, and stuff like that. So the fact that she's 41, I think, matters much, much less for her than it would for maybe a male fighter who relies on biting down on their mouthpiece and making stuff happen. She is a professional kickboxer, a professional boxer that worked her way into MMA, and she fights like one. Everything is technically sound. She has great footwork, great movement. You heard Tiffany coughing in the background. Is that what you heard?
I was like, what the hell is that? No, didn't sound like a cough to me. You might want to. She knows you're a little preoccupied right now. So he's got the headphones in. It's fine. He's got the headphones.
Oh shit. She just, Tiff, I can hear you on the microphone.
You said, oh, shit. That
Get
shit
it
was like,
control. We can hear you, and Jacob's making wild accusations about what that sound actually is. Oh, I felt so bad. She just like so defeated. She was like, I can't help it.
Oh.
She got something going on. Anyway.
I bet she does.
Holly, a very technical striker who uses that footwork and that superior striking technique to get her wins. Yana Kunitskaya, Yana Santos, a high volume striker. She lands more than 4 significant strikes per minute. She does not really have a lot of power, but she does have output, and she does mix in strikes, kickboxing, boxing. She mixes that all in really, really well. And she's coming off that TKO loss to Irene Aldana. The reality is, the fact that Yana doesn't have power plays perfectly into Holly Holm, because Holly Holm can dance around, can get her volume going, can do what she wants to do without worrying about anything hard coming her way. That loss to Ketlin Vieira, I thought Holly Holm won that fight. Did you think she won that fight?
I can't really remember. I was watching it.
They just didn't give her the cage control.
And yeah, I mean, there was a lot of just kind of Usman-like hugging. Just empty pressure, nothing really happening. Kind of a bum, kind of like what I said he was, and everyone kind of made fun of me. So,
well, anyway, I thought she won the fight. They really didn't give her any credit for the cage control because they said she did nothing with it. And Ketlin, while wasn't winning the majority of the exchanges,
that choke was crazy though. I forgot about that choke when I was watching it the other day. Oh my gosh, Holly's just like,
yeah. No, that was dicey. And Ketlin got the nod because it looked like she wanted it more, frankly. She was just throwing wild in the pocket, biting down, and good for her. She did what she was supposed to do. I think Holly won that fight. I think she wins this fight as well, and I'm very, very, very confident in Holly Holm. My 2 most confident fighters on this card are Holly Holm and CJ Vergara, and the only reason I didn't parlay the 2 of them is because CJ Vergara could get stopped by an incredibly dangerous guy, and, Holly Holm, super tricky there. Another super chat from Pepe Sylvia, $10 super chat. Do you think
fuck Caitlin Chukagian?
Chukagian is 1 away from a title fight? She has to be. She literally has to be. She beats everybody.
She lost to Vivi. She lost to Amanda. Her last fight,
beats everybody.
She lost her last fight.
The problem is who they
and that last fight was against the ninth ranked fighter in the weight class below her, and she's the number 1 contender. That's how bad these girls' divisions have gotten.
She keeps winning. She keeps beating everybody they put in front of her, so eventually she will get a title shot. And actually, there's a good analogy to say Caitlin Chukagian. Holly Holm is Caitlin Chukagian with more technique and fewer noises. A lot of dance point fighting. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Listen, I get what you're seeing, and Holly is the much better fighter. There's no question about the overall fight or whatever. Even if Holly wants to mix into takedowns for whatever reason, she has that ability as well. I think she should be able to dominate this fight everywhere. But at this point in her career, she's not a finisher. I think we both agree with that. She's not a finisher. Yeah. She keeps people at range, boom, with the kicks, and she's now engaging a little bit more in the grappling, as you saw. I guess more of the clinching, I should say, against Caitlin. And in those situations, she should be able to win those fights, but it is probably going to be a decision. And Yana has shown in her last fight she's willing to be aggressive. I mean, she came in against Aldana and just absolutely blitzed her, throwing wild stuff. And if she is able to come with that pressure, and this is a decision fight, there is a world where if she doesn't get finished and she's the one moving forward and Holly is just kind of bouncing around, is keeping her at range. But the optics of the fight for these stupid judges, Texas judges, by the way, that they see the pace, the pressure, the wild striking of Yana, they're like, oh my God, she's controlling this fight, and then Holly loses this weird, wild decision. That is possible in this fight. I don't think it's going to happen because I think Holly should dominate. She's definitely my pick. I'm not on Yana as well because she's just not good enough. But there is a world where a decision fighter loses a weird decision with Texas judges, so I can't really bet her like that, but I do have a little bit on her because there was some good value that I found because she should dominate. I mean, she should dominate the fight.
No, I hear you. But Yana's 2 years removed. It's almost, I would rather
just
have
had a kid, by the way, which doesn't seem to go very well with women, just for obvious reasons.
I would rather have a 41-year-old Holly Holm than a 2-year removed new mom Yana Santos. If I have to pick between, because
she looked even in everything. She looked good in that. There was never a moment in that Ketlin fight, except for when she was almost getting choked out. But she worked through that, where you thought, "Oh, she lost. She's losing it."
Yeah,
there was never that moment. She still looks like the old Holly. Not quite as much snap, but still looks like the same Holly.
And I think the reason that she worked in so much grappling against Ketlin is because Ketlin is dangerous. Very, very dangerous. So she tried to remove that danger. Yana's not dangerous. Like you said, she'll put herself out there. She'll chase something, but she's not like this power.
She needs
she's
to get wild because she's not good and because she's not dangerous, right?
Exactly. So I'm very, very confident in Holly Holm. And if we weren't burned by Shevchenko, and then right after that,
I mean, there should be minus 350.
I agree. Yeah. If we weren't burned by Shevchenko, and then shortly after JJ Aldrich,
well, I would say we, not me.
You had Shevchenko in a few of your stupid ass parlays.
My big parlay that hit that did not have her.
Okay, yeah, the one that hit, but the one that didn't hit. Didn't hit because
that was
of
up
her.
15 units. Yeah, that's a pretty important one to hit. Yeah,
absolute.
You're welcome.
So we're both on the same side here. $9,000. The problem is it's a 3-round fight, and Holly Holm does not score well. It's just strikes. She doesn't score that well. Now, if she works in a ton of grappling, then
she could be forced into the grappling. I mean, if Yana's just kind of all over, she might just do it just to slow her down because she can control the fight there, I think. So
sure.
She might just default to it just because.
But this is a 3-round fight. It'll be one of her, she doesn't have 3-round fights very often. So it'll be interesting to see what that does, if she changes things up or not. But she's very technically sound, very mentally strong, very composed, put together, been through it all, seen it all, former champion. There's absolutely no reason she should lose this fight. And she is not like a JJ Aldrich where she'll show up flat-footed. She's not like a Valentina Shevchenko. She's not like a Valentina Shevchenko. Valentina lost that fight because she spun. She spun.
You know what's funny is that Alexa
Holly
Grasso...
Holm's not going to do that crap.
Alexa Grasso fought somebody and they did the exact same thing in that fight. They spun, and Alexa Grasso did the exact same thing. They immediately grabbed the back and then choked her out. Whatever her last rear naked choke was. It literally was the exact same thing. It's almost like they saw that on film. Like, hey, here's an opportunity because Shevchenko does do a lot of spinning action.
Yeah, and that's not Holly Holm. So I think very confident pick for me. Probably not spending the DraftKings money because I don't think she scores very well. Jacob and I do both have. You have bet on this, right? You said you found some good value.
I found plus money for Holly Holm that I absolutely love, and it doesn't even have. It's not even like a first round finish or anything like that. It's great value. Great value.
I've got something going on here as well. WeWantPicks.com. Become a premium member. It's $10 a month. You're going to get the picks, the bets, the DraftKings optimizer. You're going to get the DraftKings ownership, the DraftKings points projections, the DraftKings player rankings, the safety parlay. Jacob's Lock of the Week is free, but fine. All of that for $10 a month. And then we do all the same stuff for FanDuel. Same FanDuel breakdown, same FanDuel content. So much going on here. WeOnPicks.com, only $10 a month. Next up, at UFC San Antonio, we have the main event of the evening. We have Marlon Chito Vera taking on Corey Sandhagen. Marlon Vera, 22-7 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, riding a 4-fight win streak. He's taking on Corey Sandhagen, 15-4 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off the destruction of Song Yadong. And this is an interesting fight to break down because it is well known I'm not a giant Cheeto fan. It's well known. It's also well known I can't pick
documented too.
Yeah. I can't pick a Cheeto fight correctly. Similar to you with Manuel Cop, I'm on the wrong side of Cheeto fights all the time. I'm on the right side of the analysis and on the wrong side of the pick because the breakdown is always...
Oh, here we go.
Go look at the stats of all of his last fights. He is losing...
was clearly the better fighter.
He was losing all of the striking exchanges in his last 4 fights or whatever, and then wins because he is so powerful. Rob Font doubled his strikes, doubled them. But every strike from Marlon did 2 or 3 times the damage that the ones from Rob Font did. So Rob Font was the cleaner, more technical, better striker, but Cheeto has so much power that it doesn't matter. He was just turning his face. I mean, that was one of the worst faces I've ever seen. Dominic Cruz absolutely smoked Cheeto Vera until he was put out. If that was a 3-round fight, if that's the co-main event, Dominic Cruz wins that fight. Frankie Edgar, 175 years old, was dominating until he got kicked in the face. At a certain point, you can't take those things away from Cheeto. Like you do it one time, it was luck. At a certain point, he's just winning these fights. He's just good, and that's his style is rely on the power, and there's so much of it. He's super dangerous. He's fighting Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen is a little different than Cheeto's last few opponents because Cheeto's last few opponents, a pillow-fisted, older Rob Font, a very old Dominic Cruz, and a very, very old Frankie Edgar. All three of them sort of, on the peaked already and are starting to work their way down as they're aging. Rob Font probably the better of those three, at least in their career trajectory for now at this point.
Well, he's about to get really exposed by my dude, Adrian Yanez.
Well, we're going to find out. But Corey Sandhagen's a little different than them. He's young. He's a very active striker. He's got deceiving power. He's very solid. He's not the type of guy that you're going to hamburger meat his face and then knock him out cold out of nowhere. He's not that guy. He's tough. He will come forward. He will mix in grappling. He will mix in strikes. Very versatile with his striking. Very weird striking style with some sneaky power, solid technique. He went to absolute war with TJ Dillashaw in a fight that a lot of people think that he won. And he's been in a lot of those wars, and not in a bad way. Not in like these wars where he's just getting used and abused and he's aging too. He's really tough, will not stop fighting, will continue to try to work for that win. I got to go with Corey here because he is durable, and I don't think that insane power of Cheeto is going to matter as much on somebody like Corey because I don't see Corey stopping. I think he's going to come forward. I think his weird movements are going to be a little too much, and you saw Cheeto had some issues with Dominic Cruz's weird movements as well. So I like Corey to win this fight. Again, I have never picked a Cheeto Vera fight correctly. I can't stand that he basically loses every single fight and then somehow figures it out. And I think it's finally going to come to an end here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the Manuel cop breakdown is kind of the same for Cheeto because he will, I don't want to say take rounds off because he doesn't take rounds off, but he will just get behind on the scorecards because he will just kind of take pictures and take pictures and take shots, waiting to time those shots. And I will say, too, that I also was a Cheeto hater. I was right along there with Angelo. I said he absolutely sucks. He's overrated. The sugar win was a fluke. Obviously, this and that. And I was completely a Cheeto hater. And we were both heavy on Rob Font. We thought that Rob Font was really going to expose this guy. And I said if he comes in and beats Rob Font, I will apologize and I will never pick against this dude ever. I literally was like, I'm never picking against this dude ever again. He came in and beat Rob Font. And I said, okay, I'm never picking against. I wanted to pick against him, against Dominic Cruz because of all the movement, because of all the back and forth, the wrestling that Dominic Cruz, the fight IQ, it seemed like he knew to stay out of danger. He knew how to stay out of danger in that fight. But I did pick Cheeto because I said I'm never picking against him, and he came through and he won that fight. And I think that fight, the way you said it, was perfect because he does move around like Cruz, and Cheeto did have issues with Cruz movement in the first 3-4 rounds. But what happened? He still ended up getting knocked out because Cheeto is so good at making those reads. And yeah, it takes him a while to make them, but he is so good at capitalizing once he has made those reads. And Corey Sandhagen, yes, he is tough. He's been in wars, but to be in wars, you have to get hit. People are like, oh my God, he's tough because he does get hit. He does get hit. He will stand in front of you, not really move his hand or his head, hands low, kind of just throw out a triple jab, just kind of paw at you a little bit and just stand right in front of you. And that's the last thing you want to do to a guy like Cheeto who has that crazy power at bantamweight division. So unless Corey's able to get takedowns and mix in the grappling, I think eventually Cheeto does what he does. He takes pictures, he's getting behind in rounds, but eventually he finds a shot on a guy that seems pretty hittable to me. So unless Corey's able to get the takedowns and Cheeto does have pretty good takedown defense, I think he's in trouble. I think it's going to be one of those Cheeto fights where it's going to look like Corey's winning. He's winning. Oh my God, Corey's knocked out. And people are going to say, oh, he's never been knocked out. Just because you've never been knocked out doesn't mean you can't get knocked out. If anyone's going to knock this dude out, it's going to be Cheeto. I think he gets it done again.
Yeah, I mean, we disagree. I don't have a proven track record of picking Cheeto Vera fights, so I can't really go die in a hill here. But I think Corey Sandhagen showed us in his last fight how good and how technical he can be. He doesn't need to be in wars. It's not like he ends up in wars with shitty fighters.
Wasn't Yudong winning that fight?
No.
On the scorecards?
No. It was a murdering.
No, his eye was fucked up, but I think he was doing okay.
It was a murdering. So it's one thing if Corey Sandhagen made every fight a war. Fight he should be putting people away in. Why are you in a war?
That was Cameron Van Camp card.
I was going to say, like that
was a tough one to read. Hold on. Let me see.
He murdered him.
Yeah, it was 2-2 going into the fourth on two judges' scorecards.
On two. And what about the third?
Song Yudong won the first 2 rounds on 2 judges' scorecards in the first round on all 3. Corey won the last 2 rounds, 3 and 4 on all 3 judges' scorecards.
Corey put it together, murdered him. Won by finish. End of story.
He was getting hit by Yudong. I tell you
Won
that.
by finish. Absolute destruction. Anyway, I think Corey, your fat ass dog.
That means
Second
it's
meal of
time
the
to
night.
go. Let's wrap it up.
We've been doing this for 2 hours. Your dog's eating for a second
2 hours
time.
again. Every 2 hours, she lives like a queen. And if you want to live like a queen with me as well, follow me on Instagram, JT_lines, or on Twitter, JT_lines. And by the way, Lines is my real last name. That's like the big conspiracy is that's a fake last name, which is kind of funny. It is my real last name. And if you want to be treated like a queen, as just like my, I was going to say just like my dog. If you want to be treated like a dog, DM me. But seriously, please DM me.
I mean, poor guy.
You just absolutely just accept it just because you feel bad at this point. Like, yeah, please somebody DM him, honestly.
I need some.
He needs to stop
a
FaceTiming me.
Little bit of companionship. I cannot do any more of those mirror shots. I cannot. Please. Anyway, DraftKings
for the night.
$7,600 for Chidi Vera is phenomenal value considering what this dude has done in his last couple of fights. But Corey Sandhagen at $8,600 is also solid value. So depending on what side you're on, just pick your side and go with it because this will be an exciting fight. And Chidi doesn't score well until the finish. You get him because he's not a high volume guy.
I think I'm going to say right now, it's going to be a Chidi submission, a Darce in the 3rd round.
That's absurd. Can we bet that won't happen? I'll give you 10 to 1 odds.
10 to 1.
That's what I thought.
But
All
imagine.
right, well, so you like Chidi to win? I'll never bet anything 10,000.
I still think I honestly think both these guys are a little bit overrated. And I respect the things that Cheeto's done, and I like Corey Sandhagen. I mean, I have an autographed Corey Sandhagen card right now. So hopefully he wins and becomes
to that too.
Hopefully he wins and becomes the fucking champion and the greatest fighter of all time, honestly. But I think both these guys aren't quite as like the championship level. But one of these guys is probably going to fight for the title here soon, and I think it's going to be Chidi. I think it just doesn't seem like it's destiny for Chidi to keep winning and Sugar to keep winning.
I would love to watch that fight again.
That would be incredible. It just feels like everything is headed that way.
And I've done a 180. Meaning, like I would root for Chidi to just destroy. I don't like Chidi Vera,
but both those guys.
I don't like either one of them, but I prefer Chidi.
It would be
Cheeto's not running
story. It'd be a better story than Sugar winning because Sugar would probably be the favorite. He'd come in all cocky.
I told
whatever.
you my ankle.
And Chidi is like the unbelievable family man, the humble dude. But in the octagon, he's an absolute killer. They've had their back and forth. It would be a big moment for Chidi. I think he could get it done too, honestly.
Oh, I'd 100% be rooting for Chidi. 100%.
You have to imagine Sugar would have to be like minus 200, right?
I mean, they definitely would make him the favorite. Well, it depends what happens here. But
I wonder if there's a future bet on that yet.
BetOnline has all of those. These fights might happen, and if they happen in this calendar year.
And I have one of those bets for premium members. And those odds fucking moved as soon as I placed that too, so you're fucking welcome.
Congratulations. We have a $10 super chat from Pepe Sylvia. Last one, Chikagian is Jacob's favorite fighter. Chikagian Hall Till. Thank you very much. Pepe, you were more than generous on this card. And then we have a $2 from Quint Lazenby, who has also been going wild on this card. He said, see ya. See you to Quint. Guys, that's the breakdown. WeWantPicks.com. Become a premium member. It's $10 a month. Do not be a cheap bastard. Dude, I mean, the amount of value. We literally have built, all joking aside, the greatest value in this space. If you can find anybody else selling their version of premium, whether it's a giant company or a person with a Patreon.
Who they are, where they are, and we'll get them shut the fuck down.
If you can find somebody else that has better premium content, or you can say, hey, this
Angel's
is $5 and it's better.
Italian if you're trying to undercut him.
Find somebody that has better value than us, and I'll pay for your membership for theirs. It does not exist. It does not exist. So become a premium member now at WeWantPicks.com.
Like the stream too before you go, if you guys don't mind. Please, before you go, please.
This is what we did for you at UFC 286, 21 and a half units of net profit. Let's say you want to eliminate that. Let's say you say, well, a lot of it, blah, blah, blah. Leon Edwards. Well, we've given you 37 units this year. 37 units in 2023. Nobody's putting up those kind of numbers. Obviously, things miss here and there, But the overall collective is absolutely dominating. Safety parlay missed. You want to focus on that, be miserable. Oh, the safety parlay. Well, guess what? Every other bet I put on the board for the most part hit. Jacob's bets were absolutely cleaning up as well. And we also offer a 38-column spreadsheet of detailed information and data. People sell similar things like this for $10. This is included in your $10 membership. You could say for free, but obviously you're paying for the membership. 38 columns of detailed information that will give you what you need at your fingertips to find your own spots. WeOnPicks.com. It is only $10 a month. And as always, if you want $50, WeOnPicks.com/bets. Use our link to sign up. Make a deposit. We will send you $50 as a thank you. Jacob, any last words?
Lock of the week video tomorrow. Going for 2 in a row. About to start this streak. Leanne Edwards. Boom, bam. Thank you, ma'am. Look out for that. It's a pretty good one. That's about it for me. I think I'm going to make myself a little frozen pizza.
All right. Congrats on what sounds like a great life.
Then hop in a little warm shower.
Why didn't you say bath?